What's up, everybody? Coach John in the house. Trying to get this YouTube live going as well here. Bear with me.
You know Harbor Freight for affordability.
There it is. There it is. Pop out chat. There we go. Here we go. There's the pop out chat. All right, what is going on, everybody? So, rumor is we might have Mr. Nick Eatman joining us tonight. We'll see if that's the case. But in the meantime, anyone wants to jump on the mic, just send me a request and I'll shoot you an invite. And I just spilled my beer. Drank my beer a little too fast. Had a little bit of an overflow there. All right, Jeremy, I see you. What's going on, buddy? Cowboys out here making moves. Let's pull up the free agency tracker. Let's see everything we've done so far here. Making some moves today. Seems like every time I look at the Twitter here, we just something else is going on. Let's take a look at all the moves. Hey, Rob. What's going on, buddy boy?
Hey, what's going on? You hear me?
Yes, sir. How are you?
A little impromptu space tonight.
Yeah, well, I was messaging you, so but I wasn't planning on doing this till tomorrow night. And really, I'm planning on doing it every other week. I was just going to do one tomorrow night just for funsies. But I saw there was a special someone interested in maybe doing one tonight, so I said, why not?
Yeah, I think it's cool.
Now, my kids got soccer on Wednesday night, so it's become a little tough for me to I don't get home till about 8 o'clock, 7:30, so kind of rushing around, got to give them baths and food and all that, and then
Yeah,
jump on here. But it's
I
worth
miss
it.
those days, but I don't miss those days.
Yeah, man. Everyone tells you it goes by fast, and everybody knows that it goes by fast, but boy, does it go by fast. What's up, Dark?
What's up?
Did y'all listen to the show today?
No, I haven't yet.
Oh man, you missed a doozy.
Yeah,
Yes,
I've
sir.
I've been under the weather, so I typically don't listen live anyway. I listen in the afternoon afterwards, but I went to urgent care, so I ain't listen to nothing yet.
Got that bug flying around, huh?
Yeah,
Yeah, I just got back from pretty bad sickness. But on the rebound, man. It seems to be going around though. Everyone's getting sick. Even my colleagues up in like Canada are all getting the same thing. Trying to pull up a free agency tracker, but man, they all suck. They're not all up to date.
Did Rico Dowdle sign with Carolina?
It looks like it's gonna be the case, yeah. 3 mil
Yep.
guaranteed, with another 3 mil potentially in escalators.
How much? How much did he get?
3 mil guaranteed, 1 year deal, and then 3 mil for potential bonuses. So a potential 6 mil deal, but 3 mil guaranteed. What do you think
I
about
never.
that?
Honestly, I would have kept him for 3 million.
I feel the
I mean,
same.
I would have kept him for 3 million. I thought that's the number not to go over, just because if you draft, let's just say Genti at 12, his cap hit the first year is 3.6, and I didn't think you should pay Rico more than that. But I mean, I don't. I think Rico may be better than the guy we picked up.
Yeah, I mean they're different style players. Javante is a little more physical, but I mean, I agree with you. I think I agree with that. I think I'd rather have
Yeah, I
kept
think
Dowdle
they
as
need.
well, but I mean, I don't think it's any really big difference either way, to be honest.
No, no, they're just. It's funny how we still say, well, they got 1,000 yards. 1,000 yards today isn't 1,000 yards 20 years ago.
Sure, yeah.
So, but I think they're about the same age. Maybe Rico's younger. I'm not sure.
Javante is in his fourth season, I think,
Yeah, so they're about the same age.
something like that. But yeah, they're roughly.
It's like you said. It's tomato, tomato. It's whatever.
Yep, I agree.
The the one guy that I like that they got, I seen him plays the linebacker from Chicago.
Yeah, yeah.
He's
I don't know anything about him, but I've been seeing some clips and some stuff about him online. It looks decent.
Yeah, I remember watching him and saying, this kid's pretty good. At least he's aggressive. He's a real linebacker. So
Yeah.
what's the deal with uh, what's his name that we had at linebacker? I guess he's not coming back.
Kendricks?
Yeah, did anybody get him?
No, he's still out there, unless something's
Ken-
happened in the last couple of hours. I
no,
didn't see.
Kendricks is not signed.
I don't see them bringing him back now with bringing in two guys.
I think. I mean, it's a possibility. I think they still have more room to do, but I don't see them signing another linebacker until closer to the draft or right after the draft. You still got to bring more camp bodies in. So you don't want to put yourself in a predicament like you did last year, where you don't have enough bodies in your system when as people start to get hurt.
Yeah, I'd like to see them go after like Asante Samuel. I don't know if anybody picked him up.
I,
They need.
I don't. So like all of these. So before I go forward about this, I was going to talk about Asante. I got kicked off. I'm not mad at the Rico deal from this perspective and them letting him go. Javante is a good third down back, and he can block, catch out the backfield, and play the power game. And if you were not, I don't see the Cowboys have given Rico that type of deal with the incentives and everything else, even the potential to get the $6 million. Um, if they're going to draft their eventual starter or bell cow running back in the early rounds anyway. And then if you're Rico, do you take an incentive laden deal from a team where you know that they're trying to replace you? At least in Carolina, they've been going down with backs, whether it been Cuba Hubbard or this person or that person, you have the opportunity to potentially get, but you know the Cowboys for certain are trying to replace you.
Oh no, I agree. The Cowboys did Rico a favor because
Yeah.
I mean they'd let him. They basically told him go find another team. Maybe you could be the starter because we're going to draft a guy and he's going to be the guy.
Yeah.
So, no, he can't be upset. I did think the Cowboys misjudged the market because there was rumors he was going to get 6 million, and I'm like, I just don't see anybody paying him.
Well, he got they're doing that off spot. Spot Rack is the one that put those numbers out, and he basically got that number. I think he has the he didn't it the base is not that, but he has the potential to get up to 6.25 with the I don't know what the exact contract incentives are, but he does when it all looks like at the end he has the potential to gain what they projected.
Yeah, listen, I'm happy for him. You know, the guy that I wish they should have signed is Jordan Lewis. I think he's everything
That was
you.
too much money.
I know, but sometimes you got to reward a guy. This guy came. You've been trying to get rid of him for years. You've been giving him 1 year deals, and when you give a player 1 year deals, they could fold like a cheap suit, and he never did.
You
He
talk
says,
about
"No, you're
Jordan
gonna."
Lewis.
Yeah, he
Yep.
always lived up to it. He always played better, and I thought last year was his best year. And considering you're so weak back there, I think they should have paid him.
Well, here's
I,
the
I
thing
think
about him too. Like you want guys with some balls on this team because that's something that I think
Yeah,
we're lacking. And he was one of the guys that consistently had balls over the years, and he survived. Like Nick said on the show today, he survived what 4 or 5 coaching staffs, whatever it was. Everybody's always trying to find a reason to get rid of him. He never fit their mold. They can never get rid of him because he was too good. And I mean, he's a top probably 5 nickel cornerback in the league, and we let him walk at a position that we don't really have anybody at now,
no, they do
inside
the
or
same
out.
thing. They do the same thing with middle linebacker. I thought go get Greenlaw. I mean, stop nickel and diming that position. It's important,
so
and you could have solidified that for 4 or 5 years.
but see, this is what I'm upset with the Cowboys for. I'm not even mad at not getting Greenlaw. I'm not mad at Jordan going and all of those things. It seems like the Cowboys put too much emphasis on the comp pick.
He was about to drop some fire. Oh, you
Oh
there,
no, no,
Dark?
no!
There you
It
are.
seems like the Cowboys put too much emphasis on the comp pick formula.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I totally agree, and they act like these
So
like in the
you
first or
sign the
second
players
round.
that are cut by other teams. That's what you do. Like sign instead of doing that. Like go get Kendall Fuller, like from that was cut from Miami. Go get players like Jonathan Allen. Pay for that because that's just money.
They don't want to drop the big coin. They want to. There are certain positions that they never valued. For years, they never valued safety.
Hmm.
They never value. Now it's like they don't value linebackers. Um, they don't really value a second wide receiver. It's like, and I don't get it because linebacker, your weakness is stopping the run. You're not
Yeah.
putting Micah back at linebacker, so let's just stop with that. Uh, I thought even the kid from the Raiders, Spillane, who I know Dylan liked and I liked him too. They were about the same price, about $12 million. I mean, that's the going rate. It wasn't a crazy amount of money.
How much did Jordan Lewis sign for? 10 mil a year.
Yeah,
Okay, so would you rather have had Osa or would you rather have had Spillane and Jordan Lewis?
uh, Spillane and Jordan Lewis.
Yeah, I think that's a no-brainer. This is goes back to kind of the point I've been making for a while now, where I just don't like the way the Cowboys spend their money. I know there's a lot of perception out there, and it was on today's show with you, Rob, and all that. There's a perception out there that they don't spend money, and I know that they're not one of the top spenders in the league as far as cash dollars goes. But I think they participate enough internally as far as spending money goes. I just don't think that they make those right choices. Like I said, I would much rather have had the run stuffing linebacker and the gritty slot corner versus your 3 tech who can't stop the run, never been ranked higher than 36 in the league per PFF. at stopping the run. To be fair, he's never played next to a nice one technique to help him out. But like, there's other three techs across the league who are his same weight class, and they're like ranked 15th, 8th, 7th against stopping the run. So like, Osa's not a complete package, and I know we got a good deal on him, 15 mil or about 15th in the league
No,
as far
20.
as 20 mil, but 15th in the league is what I meant to say as far
Oh
as
yeah,
his
yeah,
pay scale.
yeah.
Yeah, so I know they got a good deal on him. I'm not bitching about that sign. That's a fine signing, but I would much rather have had a package with two impact guys versus Osa, who I don't really know if is a consistent impact guy except against the pass.
I listen. It for they don't like to spend money in free agency, and I find it dumbfounded. You can't win in this league. It ain't the '90s anymore.
Well, and
You
especially
have
at where they get their ass kicked consistent, like where they get their
Yep.
ass kicked over the years, right? Against the run on defense. So put resources. They drafted Mazzy, okay, but then they tried turning him into a three technique. They messed him up in his whole development. Now they're trying to make him a one technique again. So he's all jacked up. But like they don't want to invest in a. Now they've. I'll say this: they've invested in linebackers as far as a draft, and those linebackers have turned out okay. Some injuries have kind of bit them, unfortunately, bad luck. But they've never invested. I mean, as long as I can remember, in like a solid defensive front in the middle of the field.
No, the last Jay Ratliff was like the last guy.
Right. That's exactly where my mind went to. Crazy J
You
Ratliff.
know that I remember was a difference maker. They just throw bodies at the problem on the D line in the middle, and it's like I said, if we could keep teams in 3rd and 7 and more, okay, we'll be good.
Sure.
But we can't. I
But the
mean,
smart teams, they know that, right? And then a lot
yeah,
you're seeing more teams go for it on fourth down. So now you got to stop them four times. I mean, okay.
exactly.
Good luck
That's a
with
great
that.
point. That is a great point. Defenses have to change the way they play now because there are so many teams now that don't punt. And as much as I like Turpin, I would have rather given that money to J. Lou because there's not a lot of returns anymore. And I don't, as much as I would love them to put Turpin in the slot and use him as a fast Cole Beasley, I don't see them doing it. So he's lucky to get 2 to 3 returns a game
I'm hoping they
because
just get him. I mean, we saw him with the ball in his hand more towards the end of the season, as far as like playing running back and stuff, being more of a gadget kind of player. And I hope they do some more of that. Even if we draft a running back, like let's still get him in the backfield every now and then, and just
listen,
get him the
he's
ball.
he's he's the only guy on the field up right now that could take it to the house from
Mm-hmm.
anywhere.
Mm-hmm. No doubt.
And it's like those guys, you need those guys. It makes the drive. It's nice when you could just go 70 yards and
He'll play. Yeah. Hey,
yeah.
I see real quick we got Paula's hand up, and then we got James right after Paula. Paula, go ahead.
Hey, I'm at work, but I thought I'd join in anyway.
What's going on, Paula?
Um, okay, so here's my concern here. So, and they kind of talked about this yesterday in Nix's space. Eh, We're signing all these guys to 1 year deals, okay? And then what's going to end up happening? One, you don't really get a good look for a guy that's on a 1 year deal. Why aren't we doing 2 year deals? Then we're going to be back in the same spot that we are now of needing players.
Yeah.
So I don't understand. I mean, I get it. They're cheap. I understand that part. But they're not doing the team any favors. Sign them to a 2 year deal or a 3 year deal. And then, you can get out of it in 2 years. But why are you only signing them to 1 year deals? And then you're going to have another 20 some free agents. And then we're going to be back in the same spot we are right now with not having with having to fill personnel that we can't fill all of that through the draft.
Yeah, I agree. And it's the battle we've been fighting for some time now. And I think their philosophy is we'll just keep hiring mercenaries. And if one of these mercenaries hits, like a Jaron Curse, for example, like we'll offer him a deal and try to extend him after the season is over. But then at that point, you've lost any sort of discount you've had. Guy might have the best
Right.
season of
And
his
then that
career.
and to that point, Dylan, is that it's gonna end up cost what if they do go off? Great, but then that's gonna cost you more money.
Right. Is
Jerry's
it
the guy.
So why not just sign them to a 2 year deal or
right?
a reasonable 3 year deal and you have an out at some point in 2 years or something.
I mean, if the
But you
guys
sign them to a 1 year deal and they go off, then it's going to cost you even more money to keep them.
most
And
of
then we're
these
back
guys
in the
that are
same spot we are.
most of these guys that are willing to sign 1 year deals will take a discount on a 2 year deal. Like it's not going to be a
Hmm.
crazy thing to get out of if he sucks, year one.
Right.
Like it's not gonna kill you. So no, I 100% agree with that. I'd love to see him do some more
Jerry's the
longer
guy
deals.
that goes to garage sales and he thinks he's going to find like a Picasso or a rare. I remember going with my mother, and you back in the day before the internet. Yeah,
A
you
Monet. It's going to find a Monet.
yeah,
They love to
that's what
overpay.
and that's what Jerry thinks. Jerry thinks, oh, this guy was drafted in the first round. That team didn't know how to use him. He did it with Trey Lance. He did it with Mingo. He did it today, and he loves that. He loves to find the diamond in the rough, but he's just not good at it. Number one, and number two, everybody knows what they have today. These teams that we're dealing with are ran better than us. So if they're getting rid of players that you look at like that, you have the first thing you have to say is why.
Why? Why are you getting rid
But
of that
but
player? If it's
Jerry
a former
loves.
first round pick, why
I
are you
think he
getting
likes
rid
the
of it?
chase more than anything else. To him, it's boring. Oh well, if I sign Dak or I find C, I mean that's easy. He's always trying to find a guy so the media could turn around and say, "Oh my God, did you see that move? Jerry grabbed that guy for like nothing, and look how good he is." And I think it's worked out, like Dylan said, like once,
There's
barely.
been they found a couple guys. They found two guys in the USFL, the kicker and Turpin, and then they found like Jaron Curse and some of those guys were some good. I always go to Jaron Curse. It's always the first one pops in my head. Just random guys like Dante Fowler, guys that like were just kind of okay, and they came here and played well for a short time, and then they either moved on and they got paid, or
Speaking
they
of that,
flamed out.
then you got like a guy like Brandon Aubrey who pretty much came out of nowhere, didn't even play college football. I think he's the best kicker, and yet you're not signing him. It's
Hmm.
like you're going to wait another year, and now it's going to cost you another $2 million. It's like, dude, reward this dude,
Yeah.
lock him down. But I don't know. It's
We always default to the it takes two sides to tango, which I think is 100% true. But at a certain point, this continues to happen with the Cowboys. There's obviously a clear trend here. So there is an issue at some point in time here that has to, pertain to the front office and how they do these negotiations. I'm with you 100%.
what do you
I do
guys
want to,
think it's
I want
going
to
to
get
cost
to, let me get to James real quick,
Micah?
Rob. Hang
Sure.
on, hang on one second. James, what's going on, dude?
Not much. Just listening to you guys talk about everything. Um, to be honest with you, I'm on the miserable side of the Cowboys, man, where I just know that nothing's going to go our way. That any free agent that we mention, they will laugh at us and say, "No, we have this guy at home. Why do we need that person for? Why? Why are we going to McDonald's? I can just make food at home. Whatever." It's just it's bad management. I think when people say like Peyton Turner and Kenneth Murray and they just say it for Kareem Elam. I think that's because they see the label former first round pick and he probably says, "Oh, well, the talent's there because he's a former first round pick. So why not take a chance on him?" Meanwhile, there's a reason why they haven't performed. They haven't done anything in the league. And just because the name title first round pick does not mean that they are good. Yeah, they were drafted high for a reason because of what they could bring, but it never panned out. Like it almost kind of seems like what they hope for is that they could sign guys on the cheap, have it pan out, and then maybe win a Super Bowl and then just roll it over. Odds are you're not going to do it that way. I don't know who told them you could do it that way, but apparently that's how they want to do it. And I think the most frustrating part is what was the point on restructuring Lamb's deal and Prescott's deal if you're not going to spend any money whatsoever? You can't hide behind the excuse of, well, we have to pay Tyler Smith and Micah Parsons and Deron Bland. Like, no, no. If you extend Micah tomorrow, you get more money in that process. So
Yep.
don't drag it out. Like, try not, don't drag it out till August and then have him sit out and then sign him in August. Be like, see, we got the job done. Problem solved. We have Micah Parsons. And then in January, well, we really couldn't pay anybody because we had to worry about the Micah Parsons contract. Like, it's like a Stockholm syndrome. Like, it's like, this is what we're going to do. We're going to hold you hostage. We're not going to know anything that goes on around the league. and then we're going to be behind the 8 ball as always, and we're never going to catch up to anybody. Like the fact that Javante Williams costs the same amount of money as Saquon Barkley does on the Eagles' salary cap hit is fucking disgusting. And it just shows that they don't know how to build a team properly. And this is what we have. And to be honest, I don't even think Javante Williams makes this roster week 1. I wouldn't be surprised if he's cut. I really wouldn't be. I just wouldn't be. I just think they're going to take him running back high,
He could
and
be
then they're
like
going to
from last year. What was the guy they cut?
Royce Freeman.
Royce.
Yeah,
Like,
and
you
there
know
was
what I mean? Like this, it's crazy. I have no faith in them to get anything right at this point. I don't. Like, they wait too long to get shit done. They don't sign anybody, and then they expect everything to be fucking perfect. That's not how this works.
I
I,
Yeah.
totally
So
agree.
to answer to your question, James, that extra money is for the savings account.
No, hang on. So
It's for reserves.
the
hold on.
restructures
Excuse,
for CD and for what was the other one we did? Not
Dak.
Dak. We didn't.
Dak.
Yeah, didn't we do another one?
No,
Maybe
Dak
not.
and CD.
Okay. The CD restructure, I'm not worried about at all because you're just going to extend him again at the end of his current deal. So, like, you'll never pay the piper on him for like a decade. So that's fine. I don't really care. And they have to have money. They had like 40 something guys in the roster. So they got to fuel the team. All right. So you can take that restructure for CD and figure that's what plays into that. The Dak restructure is the one that pisses me off a little bit because I've been saying this whole time. I know there's other people that agree with me out there, other content creators. Just bite the bullet on Dak's deal. This was the largest cap hit in 2025. You're not going to be a contender in 2025. Just bite the bullet and start looking for the light at the end of that tunnel. And I know 2029 is a long ways away, but that's the light at the end of the tunnel on his contract. You can start working towards moving on from him while simultaneously working towards putting a competitive roster together in 2026, 2027. 2025 is a dead year to me. We're in a rebuild. We have too many holes to fill in 1 year. Brand new coaching staff. We're not going to compete for a Super Bowl this year. So just bite the bullet and start moving forward with life. But they didn't do that. They restructured it, and now what's going on with that cash? Where is that being used? And that's where I guess I'm confused as part of their strategy.
He's going
Nothing, honey.
to sign Micah, and then he's not going to do anything else because he's going to say, well, I had to sign Micah. This is what we got into today on the show. The reason why he waits, he doesn't want to write a check out of his pocket for 60, 70, $100 million. I'm sorry. And I know Nick said, well, he's worth all these billions of dollars. Guys with a lot of money don't like to spend cash. They don't use cash. They do other shit. And he doesn't want to hand over those checks for signing bonuses. He rather keep that money in his pocket for a rainy day. I mean, how many years have we been listening? Well, we got to keep this money just in case. Just in case what?
But
It's not like
he
make a
has to spend that money
splash.
though, Rob. That's where I think there's some confusion. Is like they gotta spend the money. I just
No,
don't
no,
think
no.
they spend it
fund.
No, no, no.
correctly.
I'm
Rainy
not
day
talking.
fund.
But see, I'm not talking about the cap money. I'm talking about when you sign a player, the first a big name player, the first thing they're going to say is, okay, the difference between me going to your team or going to another team is like, let's just say Greenlaw. What's my guaranteed money? What's that going to be? He's going to want the highest guaranteed money. God forbid he gets hurt. So let's just say it's $50 million. Jerry has to write a check for $50 million right now and hand it to him. And Jerry isn't willing to do that. That's why he only brings in free agents no more than $6 million. And because I don't think we think Jerry's dumb, and we know he has the money. So then the only word is he's cheap. He doesn't want to do it, unless you put a gun to his head like Dak did and like Lamb did, and then he folds. He folds all the time. But it's like he waits to the last minute, hoping that somebody gives him a deal. And that's why I said, well, if Micah offered you a deal, why don't you take him up on it?
So, but here's the thing, Rob. So whether it's spending it all in one chunk or spending it over 15 free eight, whatever it might be, 15 internal guys, whatever the number might be, like he's got to spend the money one way or the other per the CBA. Like the money has to be spent. He can't just hoard it like the Monopoly man.
The signing bonus money has to come out of his account.
But I'm talking about cash. I'm not talking about your signing money to the cap to go be spent in 2027, 2028. That money has to be out of your checking account, out of your business, into the hands of players before 2026, or I guess before the end of 2026.
He doesn't. I think in his eyes, He thinks it's a bad investment to write a check for $100 million or $50 million to a player because he thinks he's not going to get the return.
Well, it's a lot of
That's why
money to put in one basket. A lot of eggs
exactly,
to
and,
put in
and
one
he
basket. I
doesn't
get it.
want to do it. He'd rather nickel and dime. I'll get a guy here for 3 million, 4 million here, 2 million. I'll
But
take
that's a
shots
whole
over.
different conversation. What you're
But
saying
that,
sounds like you're
but
saying is
that's
from a sense of cheapness. I think from that perspective, I can understand. From a team building perspective, you don't want to put all your eggs in one basket. I
but
could
you but
understand that.
but you have to pay to play. It's the business model is not the
When
same
you
like it
have a
was.
glaring hole on your team, I'm with you, Rob. Like in
Yeah.
2023, I wanted them to go fix the middle of their defense because that was their weakness. Go get a big one technique, a nice linebacker, whatever you got to do to fix this run defense. They didn't do that, and the run game killed them. Same thing in
And listen,
2024.
I always use Philadelphia as the model because I think they're the best run organization. But up until last year, with all the moves they made, with all the defensive linemen they brought in and AJ Brown, we were right there with them. We were dead even. The difference maker was Saquon Barkley, and it put them over the top. And we just kind of caved. And now the gap is way bigger than it was. And that's why I kept saying, instead of blowing it up after going 12-5 3 years, let's go for it like they do. They got a 4 year window, and that's what we should be doing because it doesn't make sense to sign a Dak, a CD, and a Micah to this ridiculous amount of money unless you're going to try to win a Super Bowl. Winning 7 games, shit, you could do that with average guys. You don't need those guys.
Well, that's where I'm confused about their strategy from 2024 because they signed Dak to all this money, but they didn't add any pieces around him. In fact, they let all these pieces go, and they're bringing some guys in, this year in free agency because they have to. They don't have a team to freaking field, so I get what they're doing in their strategy right now. But if you're gonna restructure specifically, that's where I have the issue is with the restructure for Dak. Okay, well now you've restructured to bring in more pieces. So where are these extra pieces at? All right, let
So, what
me.
does the
Hey,
restructure actually
That's
do?
exactly what I'm trying to raise my hand for.
yeah, I was just
Is
gonna
that
try to get to
it
you
just
guys. I'm sorry.
if they no, it's fine. We always listen to you guys on the show. So if they restructure, they're not if that's not cash or anything. That's just moving the cap hit onto another year. So they did that for a reason, but it doesn't make sense of the reason they did it. You wouldn't sit on $54 million of cap hits for to not do it. You would rather have it in the future. So it doesn't make sense. Something either has to drop or they expected to sign players that they didn't get to sign that went somewhere
Well,
else.
that's an excellent point because they were in the running for Greenlaw. They were in the running for some of these other guys, and they just didn't win those negotiations. So I think that is actually that's a really great point and very fair to say that they actually maybe tried to make some moves and just they didn't. Maybe they went a little too cheap.
Can they
Maybe they.
cancel the restructure with
I
And
don't.
Dak?
they didn't want
No,
and
I
they
don't think
didn't want to
so.
spend that money. They just I think what basically came down to is they thought they could get it at a cheaper deal. And I think they didn't realize how much those players were going to cost
Well,
them.
and who knows what the
And
negotiations
they got
are?
scared.
Like,
Well, they
may,
Yeah,
offered
you know.
Greenlaw $8 million, and he
maybe
got
they
12.
maybe they thought, hey, I could offer this guy this money, compete with the other teams, see what the other teams are offering, and they'll come back to us, and maybe we can raise our offer. And maybe they never came back to him. Maybe they gave Greenlaw everything he wanted and more. So Greenlaw said, yeah, pull the trigger before they change their mind. Maybe
But
that. I mean, who
the
knows?
last guy that was just on said it right. If you went through the restructure of Dak, so now that pushes more money till another year, and you can't take it back. You can't say, we made a mistake. We didn't. We don't want the restructure. You can't go back, and you got that money. Then there's no way you should have been
Rob,
outbid. You
Rob,
should
let
have
me
been
help you
outbid,
out.
Greenlaw.
Let me help you out. Let me sort a couple things out. I've been waiting to chime in on a couple things, right? So first thing, as it relates to the restructures, if they don't spend any of this money, it just goes over the cap will roll over into next year when you may have a bigger cap hit and that'll offset there. And you could continue to roll it until the point where, into an oblivion or whatever, like whatever savings. If they never spend any of this $50 million or whatever that they created, they can just roll it next year so you have additional on whatever the cap raises and so forth and so on. If they never spend that, it'll just look like they got gobs and gobs of cap savings. That's how some of
Mm-hmm.
these teams you can look at it as like, oh, how did
How
they get
does it
100
affect
million?
Dak's contract in the future?
Say again.
So what Dylan was saying is, did you say, Dylan, this year, 2025, would have been Dak's cap hit, right?
Biggest
The big one.
it would have been his
His
biggest
largest.
cap hit.
Yeah.
And Dylan has
Right.
been advocating for it a long time to just eat it in one year. But What I'm saying is, it doesn't matter if you eat it this year or next year. If I never spend the money, the hypothetical savings that I have, when the cap hits harder next year, I can just eat it next year or whatever year because I'm just rolling the money over each year if I never spend it
Only-
on free agents.
That's only true if you hit to the cash spending floor of 90%. You can only roll over the
Yeah,
10%
so
after
so
that.
so so hold on. But they're still spending the cash. That is just a cap hit. They're still Dak is still going to make his 60 million or whatever.
No, I know that, but
And so follow me. Hold on. So I know y'all were having this disagreement when you were saying Jerry is cheap and Dylan was saying, "Hey, he has to spend a certain amount of money. It is like a lot of maneuvering." What and I do agree with you from this standpoint. I don't think he's cheap. He doesn't have liquid money in the same way, like say, because I know it's been the trend now is people been selling a portion of their team so they can have these owners can
yeah,
get some
Philly
liquid
did.
cash to spend and push money down in the years. But what Jerry, one of the reasons I think that Jerry signs players in training camp or when football or when the business's football is going on is because he can easily recoup his cash. So if he signs them in June, July, he's back to business from selling preseason games and getting you at the stadium and buying all of the stuff. So he can. So if I spend my liquid money, yes, I could be worth like I could be worth $1 trillion if I'm not if I don't have that money and if I only got $100 liquid. What does it do me in my
Yeah,
purchase?
that's exactly what I was arguing. That's why Philadelphia sold 10%. He got $750 million cash. Jerry should do something like that. He doesn't
He's
want to.
That's never going to happen. So
I know
we can
because he doesn't
that
want to spend his cash
it's
on
not
the
about
team.
that. They're not gonna. The Jones family own 100% of that team between the
Yeah,
siblings and the parents. They're never selling, so we can just move on to
I
something
don't
else.
know.
As
I don't know about that. I don't know about that.
what do you mean?
Let's say Jerry. Listen, I, I, I don't.
Jerry's living forever, Rob. Don't even say it.
Let's say Jerry. Let's say Jerry lives to 100 just for the hell of it.
Yes,
So let's say the team is worth 20 billion.
yes.
Uh, and these siblings look at each other and say, we could get the fuck out of here and go live our lives, and we're all billionaires. They may not want to be part of this. We don't
So
know
so
that.
so so
The
so follow
Yankees,
me, Rob.
you know, uh,
All of them, everybody in the Jones family, what do they do as their profession?
they work for
They
the
run that football team.
Oh, hold on. What does his grandkids do? Where do they work?
they work for the Cowboys.
They work for the
So
Cowboys.
just
We
like
all do.
so Jerry Buss, who owned the Lakers, who to me, Jerry Jones has patterned how he did with his family, the same way Dr. Buss did with the Lakers in having all of every one of his kids, grandkids, and all that work, even to today's time, work for the Lakers, right? And so they grew up with that, and they said, and Jerry Buss always said, if I sold the Lakers, if I had all of this money, what would I do? I would want to buy the Lakers. Jerry, it feels the same way. Steven, they're bred in, just like we're bred to be Cowboys fan, and our parents, probably bred us, and we bred our children. They're being bred the same way. So when Steven's certainly not in Charlotte, and Jerry Jr. certainly not sharing selling the team when it becomes their time. And now John Stevens, by the time it gets to his point, he would have worked for the Cowboys for 30 years by the time he ever gets his ownership stake. Why would he ever sell?
I just told you why. For $20 billion. Let's just
Okay.
say that's a lot of money. That's more money than any Laker or Yankee or any team would be worth. That we're not. I'm not thinking it's going to happen, but I wouldn't be shocked if somebody throws a ridiculous number at these people. Because let's be honest, by the time that happens, what is Steven's age right now? 55, 56 years old. So he'll be what, 70, 70, 66? You know, you're talking about a ridiculous amount of money. Who knows? And their grandkids will never have to work. Their kids will never have to work. Nobody will ever have to work again. So all I'm saying is, I don't think it's going to happen. I hope it does, but I don't think it's going to happen. But it could. We don't know.
That's a
Jerry,
pipe dream.
this is Jerry's baby. This ain't his kid's baby. This is
This
Jerry's baby. I've seen this as a Yankees fan that, you know,
Yeah, but
this is
I
this,
mean, like,
this is the Yankees are
if
not the
you
same with George Steinbrenner gone. Let's see what happens.
right, but if you look at the Bears, like the McCloskeys, those kids aren't involved. That's why they're probably going to sell the team because they've never been involved with the team. They've never
Well,
been
well,
involved
it's
with
not
any of
that
the
they're
front
not
office stuff.
involved, but they don't have the skin in the game like their father did.
Correct. Correct.
Yes, and
so
that's
And
what?
why.
everybody in the family, in the Jones family, all have skin in the game.
But
Yeah,
like I said,
So,
agree.
and there's only 32 teams. So,
billions and
I,
billions of dollars changes people. Let's see what happens.
What?
You know,
Okay, what family? What NFL family has sold their team that the kids and everybody in the family worked in and around the team? There has not been a one.
I know, but
not a one. Like,
nobody's
look at
worth like the
Pittsburgh. All their
Cowboys.
families involved.
You said what?
Nobody's worth as much as the Dallas Cowboys. They're the richest team in the world,
Yeah,
and they're
correct, correct.
and
But at a
probably
time,
10 years from now they'll still be the richest team in the world. Worth $20 billion.
So let me
so
let me
why
let
does
me just
why
guys.
why don't the Giants sell? Why don't Pittsburgh sell? Like it's the same model.
Listen, I'm not saying it's gonna happen. I'm just saying it could. Let it could. Let's I don't know how much. Let's face it. We'll see what happens when Jerry's no longer with us. We'll see how much of this family wants to run this show.
The best opportunity I think we would have had for that team to have sold is in this event, because if you look at a lot of the families that did sell or things, is when people got divorces and they were forced to by sale when it was one owner. But being as, even if, let's say hypothetically, I'm not wishing this, say Jerry was to get a divorce tomorrow, his kids already today, because he set it up a long time ago and gave them their third, well, gave them each a third of 50%. They actually own their part. So if he had to split any part, he's only splitting, him and Gene would split 50% themselves, and they'd be 25% owners themselves. They wouldn't have to go through the courts like, say, when Jack Kent Cook had to sell Washington, right?
My
He had to
thing
sell
is,
that because the courts made him do that in the divorce suit to buy her out.
who's running the team right now? Who is responsible for the
Stephen Jones.
demise of the?
Steven.
Stephen
Steven's been running
Jones.
the team for
Okay,
about
so
10,
why
15
is he
years.
so bad at this?
Because Stephen Jones has gone on record in saying he does not, Jared, at the point when he started in like the deals, like the whole Zach Martin draft pick, and all of the ways where he continues to win and go against Jerry, right? Like, so let's say hypothetically, right? All back in the day, Jerry used to be a wheeler and dealer. Jerry was the one that went out and got Dion. He got Joey Galloway. Did the Roy Williams deal. He brought in T.O. He did all these things, and I think he maybe say he brought back Brandon Carr. Let's say if we put all of those and attributed to Jerry being the type of guy that he's, to make the splash. And Steven goes to him and say, "Look, all of these deals I were against, and it didn't work out in the long run. We, like, even though we won a Super Bowl with Dion ended up getting turf toe, and he never lived out all that we thought we were going to get with him in his career, and that was fiscally irresponsible. Look at T.O., look at this person, and all of these bad deals you did, and then as the stuff start surmounting on his side, where he says, look at these good deals I'm doing." He starts to sway the favor, and as Jerry continues to get older, he seizes more and more control over the team, and he's the one that come out and say, "Hey, I'm not paying good players great money. Free agency is that's just a bad way to build a team." These are his philosophies. These are the words that have come out of his mouth.
And don't forget, you've got Steven, you've got Jerry Jr., and you've got Charlotte. And they're all in Steven's ear, making sure their investment is protected. So you got three of them overriding Jerry. So keep all that in mind also, because all three of them are listed as the next owners with under that percentage that they own because we looked it up. So Steven's got Charlotte and Jerry Jr. in his ear, and they're going to him. We got to make sure we protect our money and our investment.
Okay. So let's move on because this team ain't getting sold. So we can move on from that one. Jerry's also going to live to 200, so we don't have to worry about it anytime soon. So out of all the, you know what? I see James got his hand up. Let me get to James first before we move on in case he's got something on this topic. Go ahead, James.
Yeah, I did. The reason why Steven is so bad at this because he never made a single dime in his life outside the Cowboys. He probably never had a job. He probably had nothing to do with anything. The only reason why he has the job he has is because he's the firstborn, if we're being honest. It's the same thing like the Steinbrenners. It's the same thing like the buses. The firstborn gets the job because that's what they are. They're the key to the inheritance. They're the ones that get everything. It's secondhand wealth. I've never made this money, so I don't know how to get this money. So I might as well protect as much as I can because I've never done anything to earn it. I've never. He hasn't done anything to earn that money. Jerry went out and did all of it. If we're being honest,
Yep.
like that. That's just what it is. And for, it's like what was I gonna say about and to like with him being cheap is like he has the most secure job in the world. He's never gonna get fired, no matter what he does. No matter what he does, he's never going to get fired. And to be honest, the biggest cause of concern for me, is hearing the stories of when they wanted to sign, Deion Sanders, and he was like, oh, I was doing the cap and I was doing really good with it, and then I almost fought my dad over signing Deion Sanders, like almost to say like I want to win, but you want to protect the money, like you're prioritizing your own bank account over your legacy, which isn't the wrong thing in hindsight. But if you're running a football team and your main objective is to win, you might as well sign everybody you can to win, not just sit there like, oh my God, we can't give them all this money. What are we doing? There goes my money into somebody's like, bank account. It's like, no, stay out of the way. That's why he's never done anything. That's why he sucks at this because he's never had to do anything in his life.
They also
Sorry.
have the business model. Like they still think it's 1993, where salaries are three, four, $5 million. Uh, these guys get paid a lot of money now, and you have to pay them. And if you don't use free agency, and I don't mean bringing in couch potatoes, if you don't bring in top-notch talent, you cannot win a Super Bowl. We don't have a difference maker at quarterback like Kansas City does. And even Kansas City realizes we need to spend in free agency, and you saw what they did so
They
far.
just restructured Patrick Mahomes' deal today.
Yeah, we don't have that quarterback to make up the difference, number one, and you have to keep up with the Joneses. So if Philly's doing it and you have to beat them to get where you got to go, you got to do it. And unfortunately, he still thinks he doesn't, and that's why we haven't been successful in 30 years.
Yeah. Hey, Dark, you got your hand up?
Yeah, so I wanted to pivot this up. I meant to say this earlier. This is why, and I don't buy the whole. I don't really care about how Philly does the money in playing the cap. I think the Cowboys could be smarter, but you don't even have to do that. Just signing deals early. But one of the smart things that Philly does that we fail to do, and this is what one thing I do envy from them, is this. As they allowed all of the Cowboys to worry about the comp pick formula too much. So we will allow people to walk out of the door and get picks, not this upcoming draft, but the following draft. And as you see, what Philly did is, hey, we're gonna trade Gardner Johnson, and they traded a couple other players off of their defense specifically, and we're going to get picks in this year. So like that's one of the things that I think we failed. Like even like say we when we got Connor Williams, and maybe it's us overvaluing our own guys, but hey. If we knew we weren't going to keep Connor Williams, and I think going into that season, everybody it was a foregone conclusion that he was going to walk. Then the Cowboys should have traded him either midseason or before that season and said, hey, we're going to get a pick right now. And so instead of me waiting a whole basically 2 years to get a fifth round pick for this guy signing somewhere else. Let me take a fifth or a sixth now, or a fourth in some instances, especially like at the trade deadline for some of these teams that might be looking for pieces in the middle of the season. That's where we kind of fail, where we draft these players high and then we just let them walk, or we end up cutting them or something like that, and we're not getting nothing back. I think other teams do a much better job of trading their talent and getting immediate picks in return for them.
But you said it. You said it earlier. They overvalue their talent. We do it all the time. Philadelphia drafts a guy. They give him 1 year. They said, yeah, he may be good. They go right back in the same position and they upgrade. And they just say to themselves, maybe we made a mistake. We don't do that. We hang on to these guys like Mozzie. Let's see what he could do this year. But we just, instead of saying, well, we drafted that position last year or 2 years ago, they don't go back to the well. And I'm sorry, you make mistakes, but we always overvalue our talent. And they always say, well, we have to pay our guys first. No, you pay your good players first. And we don't have a lot of them.
if
And
if I were them, if Mozzie is not producing by like week 4 or 5 this year and producing on the grand scale, I'm putting them on the trading block. If I'm them and
yeah,
getting what I can get, if somebody gives me a fourth or a fifth for them, I'm taking it.
but they don't do it. When was the last time you seen that happen? That they made a trade? They just don't do it. It's like they don't want to admit they made a mistake.
I'd have a
And
hard time seeing them flipping a first round pick for a fifth. Although that's what I would do 100%. I'd have a hard time
and
seeing them do
as
that.
fans, it's like with Jerry. Jerry, if you step down as GM and said, I think I'm gonna, we would applaud you, especially if we won. We'd still give you the credit. We would give you more credit because you actually did the right thing finally.
But see, if Jerry stepping down is a moot point, like all of that selling the team or Jerry stepping down doesn't matter because Jerry would still be in position because so Jerry steps down. That doesn't mean they hire an outside person. That just means Steven is now in that role. That's all
Oh
it
no,
means.
I
You
I
would
I agree. I don't want that. My best case scenario is they would actually, maybe when Jerry's no longer with us, maybe Steven says, I need help. But I gotta go outside, and he maybe brings in a football person. That's the only thing we could hope for.
not
That's
if
why I
So
they.
what do
wanted
you
him to
think
leave it to
Will
Charlotte because
McClay
I
is
know
now?
Charlotte would do she would get a general manager.
Will McClay is basically the general manager, guys.
But Will
He
McClay
and
doesn't have
Steven together. He and Steven together
yeah, he
are the
doesn't have
general
no
man.
power. Will McClay.
I think he
But
has
Will,
more influence than you realize, though.
no, I'm not saying he doesn't. I'm not saying he
He's
doesn't.
part of
But
the family now.
he's part of unless he's given autonomy to do it his own way by himself. As long as he has Steven and or Jerry there influencing his or having to sign off on everything, he cannot operate like Howard Roseman does.
No, definitely not.
I don't know that anybody really knows. There's no way to really know how true that is. You know what I mean? But
Well,
it's
What
but the whole point of it, the team ain't ever getting sold. It's going to be Steven after Jerry. I mean, get used to it. If this is not, you know what I mean? It's never going to fucking change, you guys. Um, so, you got to look at it objectively, and it's hard to because I know I'm emotional about it too. But the truth of the matter is, in the last 5 years, we had three teams that the roster was good enough to go to the Super Bowl.
no, it was
Yeah, it fucking was, Rob.
no, it
it was,
wasn't.
Rob.
They didn't go. They couldn't get
Yeah,
past the first round. You
I
can't say that.
understand that, but like I said, a lot of things go into winning and losing one football game.
But they
If
weren't good
what?
enough. They
But,
weren't. We
but
knew when we played Green Bay, we knew going up to that game that teams changed the way they played. They were running the ball on us. They were running at Micah. We were worried. We saw we
so
didn't want
so
to see.
Nobody
football.
saw shit. Everybody thought we were going to go in there and wipe the fucking floor with Green Bay.
No. We don't.
We
Not in
were
the
the favorite to
playoffs.
win that game, Rob.
That was a coaching staff issue. That wasn't a fucking personnel member.
Wait a minute. We were never good enough to get to the
But
Super Bowl. Let's not
Rob,
get
it
crazy.
We
hurt
were
so
the
much
number 2
because you
seed,
thought
Rob.
That
Rob.
doesn't
The number
that
2
doesn't mean
fucking seed.
anything.
Yeah, you are good enough. That's why
No,
they
you
beat
have
them.
to look at this team plays different in the playoffs. Your quarterback sucks.
But
That's
Rob,
a coaching issue. That's not a personnel issue.
I agree.
Rob,
I agree with the coaching. I don't think coaches should be trying to try out for other jobs until the season's over. I totally agree with that.
I think that had a lot to do with the
I do too. But
And I
we
think that
also
fucking team
saw
we had 2
the
years
cracks in this defense where they could not stop the run, and teams were saying to themselves, "Why throw? They want us to. They want us to throw. We're going to run the ball at them," and that's what they started to do.
so Rob, follow me. I agree with the gentleman that just said what he said. The reason it hurt so much is because we were the favorites. If we were the underdogs, it
No.
would not
I
have
know
hurt.
we were the favorites, but you cannot say we were good enough to get to the Super Bowl. We didn't
We
go
were
to
the
the
2
but
first
seed.
round.
follow me, Rob. Let me finish my point. For we had that same outcome for 5 or 6 years in a row. So why? And I think Dylan just had said it previously. Why didn't Jerry go out when we were just lacking in 1 or 2 spots and get that premium linebacker? Why, when Bobby Wagner was on the market for many years, he didn't go get him? Why, when Dominican Sue earlier before that was on the market, you didn't go get him or some type of other
That's your
big?
Saquon Barkley move right there. You got a really good team, and you need
I
one
totally
piece.
agree. We
And,
talked
and
about it.
so coming into that season, even let's go back to the whatever we were 13-4, whatever the number 2 seed at the trade deadline coming into that season. Why? I know we were trying to do that. You remember that was the year when we were trying to get fight over Shaq.
Are you
Gosh,
talking
what's
about 2 years ago?
the linebacker
I'm
Shaq
so glad we didn't
Barry?
grab
Leonard,
Shaq.
right? We trying to fight over Shaq Leonard and all this. Why didn't we trade assets, draft capital to go out and get us a bona fide linebacker and or DT in the middle of that season? And that would have been the missing piece
I
to get us
agree.
over the top.
I
And it,
agree. But that's what I'm
But
trying to
but hang
say.
on, but everybody, all right,
We
everybody,
weren't
just
good
hang on
enough.
1 second. Everybody, hang on 1 second. Hang on. Football is unique, y'all, and I'm gonna explain this from the start to finish. So just bear with me. I've said it before. I'm gonna say it again here. All right, football is unique. It's single game eliminations. All right, nobody in their right mind is gonna tell me in 2007 those New York Giants were a better football team than the Dallas Cowboys. They got
Thank
hot.
you.
They got hot at the right time. They won the games they needed to. They were not a more complete or better team than the Dallas Cowboys. And I think of it this way: if these teams play 10 games, how many times does Team A win? How many times does Team B win? If the Cowboys go and play the Packers 10 times in 2023, I guess it'd be the year 2024 playoffs. Okay, Cowboys probably win 6 or 7, 8 of those games, whatever it might be.
Yes.
They win more. They win more than 5 of those games. Okay, it just so happens that day, for whatever reason it was, I don't know what the reason was. Okay, but for whatever the reason was, the Cowboys didn't show up on any of their units that played so well all season. And you're right, Rob. You are right too. We all saw concerns with the run game. Buffalo whipped our ass in the run. Other teams that stuck to the run and we couldn't get and jump out to a lead whooped our ass with the run. So you're right, Rob. There was a missing piece there. But that team was still really good, and worse teams have gone and won the Super Bowl. So that roster, and I've said it in defense of Jerry. I've said it in defense of Jerry over the years, and I've gotten, blasted for saying it in his defense. He's built some really good rosters. And do I agree with everything he does? Hell no. Do I agree with 2024 and now what we're doing right now? Hell no. Right now, I can understand a little more in 2024. 2024 was a weird-ass offseason, so I completely disagree with that offseason. But let's not act like Jerry hasn't done anything in 30 years. I think I put a list together. I think there were 7 or 8 teams that could have won the Super Bowl in the last 30 years that he put together. So
Absolutely, I agree 100% with that, Dylan. And to say that they haven't been successful and all, no, they haven't won a Super Bowl and they haven't had a deep playoff run. But like I said, in 07 we had a roster good enough. In 2014 we did.
dude, even 06 where Romo fumbles the snap, like, are you kidding me? That play ends the season.
2000
What is good enough? What does good enough mean? We even if we beat Green Bay, let's say we beat Green Bay, you still got 2 more games to get to the Super
Who
Bowl.
will we have played the next week? I don't even know.
Probably San Francisco.
Well, we
Okay.
all know that we can't beat San Francisco,
What
so
all I'm saying is we weren't good enough in any of those years. We had very good rosters, but we were missing pieces. And I agree with Dark. That was the team 2 years ago that
We beat Detroit.
CD was had his best year. Dak had his best year, and if we would have got a missing piece or two on defense, I think I think we would have been
But
good
you
enough.
know why that
But
fell
we
apart
weren't.
against the Packers too? A big reason why that I think a lot of people miss or forget is that who's the corner there? Stephon Gilmore hurt his shoulder. They couldn't play man coverage in that game. They had to go play zone,
Yeah,
and they didn't play zone all season long. So like, okay, was that roster really bad? No, it's just some bad shit occurred the week before in really a meaningless game. So that kind of sucks.
we were a very good team, but we weren't good enough.
But very good teams go and win the Super Bowl all the time. You don't
Yeah.
have to go be
I
the
know, but
Chiefs
we
every
didn't get
single
Think about
season.
the Giants, man. The both times they won, they were fucking wild cards, dude. We swept them in the regular season,
But
and
they
then
won.
they get on a
They
roll.
did it,
You
though.
get on a roll, and a few things bounce your way.
But it
Teams
didn't.
have won that way. No,
A
it fucking
Super
didn't, but
Bowl victory doesn't
You're talking luck, dude.
a
You're
Super
trying
Bowl
to blame
victory
people for bad luck.
a Super
Listen,
Bowl
if we
victory
would have
doesn't
been,
mean
if
you're
it
the
was the
best team in
NFC
football.
Championship game, if it was the NFC Championship game, I'd agree with you. It was the first round of the playoffs at home, and you got smoked. I'm sorry, you
All
can't.
right, what about 2016? We decided to go with the fucking hot
2014.
hand.
Two,
If we
2006.
start Romo, when he got healthy,
How are you going to
we
bench a guy?
fucking roll through the playoffs, dude.
Wait a minute, you're going to bench a quarterback that went 13-3? I mean,
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm
absolutely,
Romo's
absolutely, because nobody was crying.
this,
We had to sit
this
dead
is what
quiet
a
for 5 games, and nobody was sitting there crying about, well, Terrence Williams really
we could
stepped
play
up.
this game all the time. And listen, I think Romo was a better.
Romo would have won through that Green
But
Bay game. We
I've
wouldn't
seen
have got down
Romo
21 fucking points. I'll tell
I've
you
seen
that.
Romo in the playoffs fall apart too. So
I have actually. I've seen him
but
play pretty
okay.
goddamn well.
Romo is
Yes.
my favorite Cowboys player of all time. All right, I wouldn't have benched him that season for Dak, and I love Romo more than any other player that's ever played for the Cowboys. My favorite player of all time. All right, I would not have
He's
benched
not my
him.
favorite, but I will tell you, he got fucked, dude. We
But
should
but
went
here's
back
here's
to
the
Romo.
thing. Yeah, they went down in that game, but Dak still outplayed Aaron
Yeah.
Rodgers in the
Dak-
end. He actually had a
Dak
really
played
good
great.
game.
That was the
He
best
brought them
playoff
back.
game he's ever played.
But it's the
He-
same.
And
It's
they
the
got
same thing
fucking
every
lucky
time.
at the end. They got
It's
lucky at the end. He had that sack. It should have been a fumble. And
Yeah.
then Aaron Rodgers makes an unbelievable fucking
but this is just what happens to
pass.
Dallas,
And
right?
then
So
all of a
but
sudden, Jerry goes from being the executive of the year to, in Rob's perspective, a fucking idiot over a throw for
But
Aaron
this goes to your point though, Jeremy, is that so much of this is dictated by luck because of single elimination. 2014, that bullshit that was pulled up in Green Bay. All right,
Yeah.
who knows? Maybe Aaron Rodgers. But this is what happens to the Cowboys. I feel like more than any other team, it's some bullshit that comes into play that screws them over in the end. Okay, we can go
That's what I say
2007,
too. And
2014,
everybody says, oh,
2016.
The
the
bottom
fucking
line
homer,
is
this,
and I think we all agree with this, is you look at those teams, and especially the Dak teams, and especially 2 years ago. I felt the team 2 years ago was the best team that Dak had. You had a dominant wide receiver, the Micah Parsons, and that's why the following year, even though we got our ass kicked by Green Bay, I think the following year, that's when Jerry should have said, "Let's go for it and let's build on this." And he blew it up for whatever reason, and that was the year. We could
that was
talk
last
about
year.
Romo. No, the year before last. We could talk about Romo, and we could talk about this, and we could talk about Dak's rookie year. That after the rookie year with Zeke, they should have built on top of that team when Dak was making $1 and Zeke wasn't getting paid. That they should have built
Well,
on
they had
that
another
run.
really good season in 2018
Yeah,
as well. But
they
I
should have
agree.
built on. they should have went for it on that team with the best offensive line.
The formula right now to win in the NFL is to win with a rookie deal quarterback. So
But the
yeah, I think
bottom
they
line
missed out
is,
there.
I thought they should have built on the team 2 years ago, and for whatever reason, he said no. I'm blowing it up.
Wait,
Screw Mike.
didn't they trade though? They made that was 2023, right? So they traded for Cooks and Gilmore that year, didn't they? I feel like those are pretty good
They had
moves.
Gilmore, yeah, but I'm talking about the following year. I'm talking about last year. Last year, they should have built on the Green Bay loss last year.
Oh, I thought you said 2 years ago. Yeah, no, I
Well,
mean they
2
didn't
years
do any.
ago was the playoff loss.
2 years ago was a playoff loss to Green Bay. That season they made the trades for Cooks and Gilmore. They made some moves in free agency. Like that was okay.
That year. Gilmore
Well,
was on.
the mistake they made last year is that they either should have extended Mike McCarthy or fired his ass. That's where the problem was.
Yeah.
They continued to stick with Mike McCarthy on a lame duck year and all the coaches on a 1 year, and then said, "Here, do with what you've got." That's bullshit. That's on Jerry and that's on Steven.
Well,
I agree. I think we should have gotten rid of McCarthy the second that Green Bay game was over and sent a fucking message. And then to send a message to the whole fucking organization.
But the problem with that is you were losing Dan Quinn, and they didn't want to lose Mike McCarthy also.
Because if you move on from him, you would have got Dan takes that job in thing.
But hang on, you wanted them to go all in 2024. You just said, but then you also wanted them to fire the head coach. So those two things don't go together. If you're gonna go all in,
I didn't say fire the head coach. I said after the Green Bay game, as bad as we played,
I did.
You should have built on that team. But they're right.
But not so. Hang on. No. So you wanted them to keep McCarthy after the Green Bay game?
Correct.
Okay. All right.
Yes,
okay.
Yes. They should have kept McCarthy. You had one more year, and you should have built on the team. And let's
sure.
How would you have built on the team? Saquon, is that what you're saying?
Definitely.
Okay. And that's really what this all comes down to. Everybody's pissed off because they didn't go get Derrick Henry or Saquon.
No, but it wasn't. Wait, it wasn't just that. You needed.
Was just that. You'd have been happy as a pig and shit if they got Saquon.
But that one
if you had a shitty year behind our shitty line, then Jerry's a fucking idiot again, right?
Okay, but what about Christian Wilkins last year to get your run defense was horrible in the playoffs. If you would have signed the premium D tackle that was on the market, and you would have went out and, like I said, like got somebody like Bobby Wagner or who just got cut from CJ Mosley, I think just got cut today or whatever. He was leaving he was leaving Baltimore at the time. If you would have went out and done those things, even if you didn't get the runner, it would have made a difference. And then when it came around to the draft, some of these positions you don't have to take Maris, and you could have drafted a runner. What's the runner that went one spot after Maris? The one that's in Tampa Bay, the running back, Bucky.
Yeah.
Bucky Irvin.
Yeah, Bucky.
You potentially have Bucky Irvin or some other running back, and even if you don't go get the premium running back, you did not try to improve your team at all. The only player that you signed last year in free agency prior to the draft was Kendricks. You signed no other outside players at all last year. And then come after the draft, you got a couple more players. In fact, you didn't start signing like D tackles and stuff until the end of training camp. When the last week of training camp, you went out and got
Joseph
and the other guy
Phillips.
The guy that went back to Buffalo. What's his name?
Phillips.
Yeah. Trash.
Yeah.
Trash.
It was like Jerry said, screw you, Mike McCarthy. We lost. That was our best shot, and I'm going to stick it up your ass.
And that was my point. So if you're not going to add to the team, then fire him and start from scratch last year. If you're not going to do anything to help the team, fire the coach and let's just start over.
Well, Dark, you're speaking to the acquirer on the nose tackle, bro. I've been asking for it for like 5 years now, and they just won't do it. They invested in Mozzie, but they fucked his development all up. And I think last year they went all in on the Mozzie basket, and at the end of training camp and preseason, like, oh shit, this guy's not doing very well. We got to make some trades. And so now they're trading a division rival for a guy that they don't even want. They're like, yes, please take him away from us and give us some picks. And they're signing a trash heap player off the trash heap pile. It's like, dog, I know this position doesn't get stats. This is a premium position to fill because this team can't stop the run, and they're doing the same thing this
And
year.
you can't tell me, Dylan, they couldn't have figured out how to sign Golston. Like, are you fucking kidding me?
Did they sign Linville Joseph?
No,
No.
I don't think so.
I
None
thought
I
I
didn't hear
read
anything
that.
about it.
I haven't seen anything, Rob.
I
I've
heard
been
somebody's
pretty much
bullshit
keeping
post
on.
about it.
No,
Okay, so
Yeah,
maybe
no,
because I was like,
he's not.
what?
There,
I
somebody
thought
made a
I'm
joke
tracking
post
all
about
these
it, I think.
signings.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you probably saw
But
the same joke post I did.
But I
probably.
mean, I'm sorry. You could have signed Golston for what New York signed him for. That's bullshit.
Yeah, but
That's weak. That is just effing weak.
they don't value
Golston.
that position.
Well, so what you got to look at it is they got rid of Golston, and then they signed Solomon Thomas. So if you
They
think
signed
Golston's
Jags,
better than
a bunch
Solomon
of
Thomas,
guys.
if you think Golston's better than Solomon Thomas, then you've got a legitimate beef. But that's basically what you got to look at. None of these guys are starters; they're obviously role players. And Golston, I don't know, he wasn't that great.
No,
They're
they're
Jags.
they're about
Just
the
a
same.
guy. Just a guy. That's all these people are.
That's
Jags.
an ugly position, and Jerry doesn't value ugly. He wants flash. He doesn't value. That's ugliness. That, like Dylan said, those guys are in there to stop the run. They're not really there to get sacks. And he looks at that like, well, that's boring.
Yeah,
I don't.
let's just bring in a big boy, right? Just a
Yeah,
big trash can of just human mass, and just
yeah.
hopefully he can hold his spot.
We've
But
been
yeah, that's not
asking.
the way
Yeah,
it's done.
exactly.
Hey, Davian, what's up, dude?
Yo, 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 can you hear me?
Is there
What
what's
up, kid?
poppin'?
Yeah, I guess spirited debate today. I see everybody getting at it. Yeah, I don't really care about ghosting, to be honest. He was a solid guy. When he got his money, pretty much that's what happens in free agency. You gonna go get your money. He was a defensive end, he wasn't a defensive tackle, so he was basically playing the end now. And now we got Nealon, Sam Williams coming back, Peyton Turner. So we got Rushman. So yeah, I'm sure the Cowboys offered him something, but he probably went for more in the Giants. So I ain't really gonna cry over the
How much
crowd
did
of
he get?
ghosting.
How much did he get from the Giants?
3 for 19.
Yeah, it's around $7 million a year, I think.
And what did we pay Solomon Thomas 1 year?
Oh, he's like around 4 or 5 million.
2 for 8.
Yeah.
Yeppers.
So I think it's a better deal, obviously. So what you're seeing is that they've got these positions slotted, right? And this is what they can afford for each position. And instead of looking at the player, Rob, which is I think the crux of what pisses you off, is they look at the slotting before they look at the player. And they look at who can we get that'll fill this slotting, this, what we're going to pay for this position, instead of looking at the player and going over in certain areas. So they look at it, you got Golston, right? We can re-sign this guy, or we can go get Solomon Thomas and pay him half the money, right? And so that's how they looked at it. So, and I think that's how they look at a lot of these positions, especially in free agency. It's just filling out the roster so they don't have to reach the draft. And I mean, they're disciplined to their plan. And obviously, a lot of people don't like that plan, but that's what's happening. These
They
fucking
don't
positions
value.
are slotted to a certain value,
Yeah,
right?
they don't value interior defensive linemen. They don't value middle linebackers.
They do. They just don't. They don't value three of them.
No, they
Right?
don't. They could
They
have
don't.
went and got Greenlaw. They said no. Spillane, no. They were at a nickel and dime middle linebacker. What was the?
Greenlaw is not going to live up to that contract.
How do you know?
Tore his fucking Achilles. He couldn't stay healthy
Years
last year.
ago, I watched him come back. He looked great the last 3 games.
But he got hurt, Rob. He got hurt
He
as soon
gets
as he
hurt.
No,
came back.
that was only a calf muscle. He looked great. And then
Yeah.
If you didn't like him, go for the guy from the Raiders, Spillane. He's a good player.
I agree there. That's the one I liked.
They don't
Yeah.
value that middle linebacker. They just don't.
Well,
They
I
just
don't.
have a certain amount of money they're going to pay, and they weren't
I
going to
know, and that's
overpay
why
for
your
him. And that's
I,
defense
why they locked
can't
down the
stop the run.
sweepstakes
I
with
don't understand
Jordan Lynch,
how,
too.
and I agree with you, Jeremy. I think that's probably what it is. They talk about the pie. They got this pie sorted out into position groups, and that's fine. That's that's a good way to do it, I guess. They know better
But
than I
again,
do.
why did
But
we restructure Dak and CD's deal if we're not going to spend the effing money?
well, let me finish.
I mean,
We're gonna sit here and watch ourselves get our ass kicked again in the run game year after year after year, and they're never gonna adjust that pie to go out and get a bona fide run stuffing defensive tackle, a nice 1T. They might invest draft capital into that, but I mean, they haven't paid a one technique in years and years. Like, I don't know when the last time they did it was. Instead, they'll pay the pass rushing
Listen,
3T.
I've been. Has anybody? I've been keep looking. It was supposedly Cleveland was gonna cut Tomlinson, but I haven't seen the official word yet. Anybody heard anything about that yet? Because that's who I
Nope.
want.
No, that was the rumor too, but I don't think it happened yet.
Dark. So, like I said, I've been keeping my eye on everything, and
Okay,
Cleveland has
he's
not released him yet.
yeah. Hang on, he's designated as a post June 1st cut as of 2 hours ago.
There you go. So
Talking about
when I
Dalvin
think he's
Tomlinson,
free, I
right?
That
want
might
him.
be a move there. I'm all about. We've been doing some shit actually this year, so I'm on that shit.
Let's look up his PFF grade.
Because we made about like 5 or 6 moves in the first 3 days of free agency, which we normally don't do.
But on
So
the
and then we
flip,
got
including
when
trades.
I
but
mean
what do you think?
I think Sanborn is gonna be solid. I think
Yeah.
Murray's an athlete. We'll see what he can do. I mean, run hit blitz. Solomon's gonna be good because he's
What
gonna be
about the
able to teach the D
cornerback
linemen.
from Buffalo? Anybody know anything about him?
I
That's
watched him.
Abram Heelan's son.
I'm a
So
Florida fan, so I watched him play in Florida. Now I haven't watched a lot of Buffalo games, but I know in Florida he was really good.
Was
So
he a starter for Buffalo?
No, he lost his job.
he
No,
lost the job, but
he got
what
hurt.
from what some people say is Buffalo was using him in man coverage, which is not his strong suit, and he's more of a zone corner. And Eberflus likes zone corners more, and so they're hoping that he will pan out and they'll be able to get um, the best out of him.
So he's going to be a backup.
Well, right now you don't know when Diggs is going to return from injury, and Kalen Carson is currently injured. Like, so you have to start filling out. But he's an outside corner. He's not a slot. You still got to address the slot position. Even if you
They could always move Bland at
Yeah,
slot.
they can always
no
blend.
no you can't move Bland the slot because Diggs is not going to start the season
No,
on
no,
time.
no. I'm just saying when Diggs comes, if Diggs comes back,
Yeah.
they could move Bland into the slot.
Correct. Yeah,
so
but
if
the
even
start
if
the season, you got to sign somebody. You got to do something.
Oh yeah, you can't be done. You got to go get another guy.
yeah, no, I mean, so if Eberflus can do what he can do with him, like I said, I watch Florida. I'm a Florida fan, and he was really good at Florida in the secondary.
My
So
concern with Eberflus is what is he going to use? How's he going to use Micah? If you're just going to leave him at one spot, I don't think that's a good idea. He needs to
well,
move around.
nobody's ever had a player like Micah. So with Eberflus is a good defensive coordinator. He's just not a good head coach.
I hope you're right.
Hey,
Because
Rick,
he
I
Well,
see
did
you got
they
your
pretty.
hand
not
up,
gonna be
man.
able to
He
do
did
nothing
pretty
with
well
Micah
in
if they don't
Indy.
sign some help.
Hey,
Like some real guys to help him. If they don't get some real guys to take some pressure off of him, whether I say like Tomlinson in the middle or getting another Zadarius Smith or somebody like that to help him on the other side, Preston Smith, some other guys
Would you
like that.
trade for Hendricks?
They're not.
Hell
I
no.
would, but they not. I would, but
I
they're
can't.
not gonna do it.
They can't afford. They ain't gonna do it because they can't afford it.
Hey guys, let
Yeah.
let
I
me
do
let
want a
me get to this
contract.
hand. Let me get to this hand. Rick, what's up, man?
Hey guys, we're gonna say there's a couple of things. I listen to a lot of stuff, especially Talking Cowboys and them. Talking Cowboys yesterday talked about Chauncey Golston, and all of them agreed, and Brian kind of forced it today, that Chauncey had two choices. Either take the deal from Dallas, which is about the similar to what he got from the Giants, but Chauncey, their speculation is that Chauncey chose the Giants because the way the Cowboys were using Golston as defensive tackle, and then they used him as a defensive end last year, and the Giants will use him as a defensive end. So Chauncey said, I can get more time and play defensive end with the Giants than I would with the Cowboys. So their speculation, Chauncey chose the Giants over the Cowboys.
Makes sense. I heard the same thing. And if the money's the
Yeah, but
same,
he got two
money.
guys in front of him though. He got Brian Burns and he got the other guy on the other side. So unless one of them hurt, he gonna be kind of the same thing was here. So I guess,
Yeah, but
but
he didn't want to be
I
a
mean,
defensive tackle here. He thought he was out of position, and he was.
And the thing is that like I said, the cornerback, as you were speaking earlier, is that the cornerback they picked up from Buffalo, Elam, as he played maybe 12 games. He's like, and they're playing in the wrong things. He's been hurt a little bit too. But with your cornerbacks you got Carson's if he comes back healthy, and you got Bland. All right, so you need Elon is better than Booth and whoever else you had on the team. So he's most likely going to play in the on the team, as during preseason, probably play with the ones and then see how it goes. Unless they can pick up a corner when they pick up corner late, maybe mid round or whatever in the draft. If he turns out to be better than Elam, then the person in the draft will start over Elam. And he's only I think signed for 1 year. So if he's still a rookie. He's still on his initial contract. So if this year is his thing, and if he plays good, they can give him a 5th year. They can give him they're paid 12 million next year, which probably not going to happen. So he probably has a 1 year prove it deal, and if he does good or not does good, they just cut bait. Don't have to worry about it. As far as the two linebackers they trade for today, right, is the one from Chicago most likely he's the better one of the two. He'll probably be your starting linebacker with Leafau. And if they pick up some linebackers during the draft, then we'll go from there. But initially, right now, he would be one of your starters as a linebacker, because you don't know when Overshone's not going to be coming back anytime soon. So like I said, unless they get some other people, but the moves they made today were the best moves they made all season so far. The best me, I'm like this. The past 3 days, they made moves every day, whether they're being moves they could be making next week or the week after, but they still made moves that fill the team, because it's something they had a deal with, not deal, but they were fighting with what Minnesota, was it for Greenlaw?
Denver.
And yeah, and who knows what happened there. They got outbid or whatever. You don't know what the contract would have been or what they offered, but
Supposedly off at 8 million.
they lost to Minnesota on that deal.
No,
And you didn't have a chance to get Hargraves, because as soon as he was released, Minnesota already had him. So,
Yeah, it
but
was Denver for
they could
Greenlaw.
go and get C.J. Mosley or the Zarius Smith or like that, and they're not going to get Asante Samuel because he doesn't tackle well, and he's short and Larnley, and Eberflus like long length. So
I
you count out Asante Samuel out as a
I
cornerback.
thought I thought C.J. Mosley had a neck injury or a back injury.
C.J. Mosley
then that
is
sounds
worked
like our
with
guy.
White Cotton.
Rob.
I know, but I thought he had an injury.
Yeah, he has a herniated disc in his neck.
Yep. Consider him a
Yep.
Dallas Cowboy.
Rob.
If you got a torn ACL, a bad neck, they love you.
Whatever. Yep. We got
Cowboys
you.
love that.
Come on. Come on over.
Yep.
Yeah, bring as many injured players to
You're
the
a, you're a middle
understaffed
linebacker with a
training room.
bad neck. You're right
Yeah.
for us,
Awesome.
Well, if you
Yeah.
bring four guys and get 4 games out of each of them, you're good to go.
right? You got a knee that torn off and you can't lift your foot. We're going to give you $40 million.
Exactly. There we
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
But
Oh, y'all some
you know,
haters,
as
bro.
far as as far as the other ones like Rico got signed for like $3 million, possible 6.5, to go to Carolina, and he's going to be in a share time there either way. So he did probably didn't want to stay in Dallas because of the way the situation went last year, and
I mean, we
either
ain't
way
want
you
him
go,
anyway.
you weren't
We
gonna
could have signed him if we wanted him.
yeah, you weren't
Yeah,
gonna sign D-Lock. He got a massive contract, three
What?
years for
What?
multi-million dollars for
How much?
Seattle.
How much?
I would think it was like
I
40
think it was
some
like,
million
was it
dollars.
like 40 or 42 mil?
Yeah, for
3 for
years.
42. 3 for
Yeah.
42. 18 guaranteed.
Yep.
Get the hell out of here.
No,
Yeah,
they did. Yeah. Well,
and
Hey,
the key,
don't
as
forget
people
who's
have
over
said,
there. Duarte.
key phrase is that you're gonna pay good players good money, play elite players elite money. You're not gonna play good players elite money.
Well,
Well,
don't forget
Demarcus
who's.
Lawrence is a good player. The problem is he can't stay healthy anymore. When he's
Hey,
healthy,
Rob.
he's good.
Don't forget who's over there. Duarte's over there now in Seattle.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't. I'm shocked he got that kind of money.
So he might have put a little bug under the bonnet.
So
I'm
what
shocked he got longer than a
defensive
1 year deal.
what defensive linemen are left that's out there?
Zadarius Smith,
No, no, I'm sorry. Defensive tackles.
Calais
uh,
Campbell.
Calais
Calais
Campbell.
Campbell.
I don't know. They've been talking about this guy for 5 years.
I know. He's like 85
Yeah,
years old
Like
too.
yeah,
he's
you gotta
like
give me
my
somebody else than
age,
that. I mean,
Just
I
go
don't need a guy that's pretty much on 1 foot out the door. I mean,
at this
I
point.
think
All the
that
good,
Thomason guy,
all the
that's a
good,
decent one. If
all
they
the
make a
really
move
good
later.
run stuffing defensive tackles, I think, are gone at this point, to my
I
knowledge.
I
So
thought
I'm
they
just
had
like,
a
go and get
So
the guy
here's
from
the
Texas in round 2. Go get Alfred Collins and
Has
call it a
Dylan.
day.
so
I
you
Smith
got
heard
been released yet from Green Bay?
which one?
Smith, has he been released from Green Bay yet, or is he
yes,
just out there?
yeah, they free. He's free.
Okay.
Oh, he'd
So
be.
listen,
But
so some
but he
DT.
has but he has injury issues. He hasn't always been available for Green Bay though.
No, he last played with the Lions last year. Darius Smith.
Oh, okay.
All right, so peep this.
I'd bring him
So,
in if
so
for a
y'all
penny.
was talking about D tackles, right? You got Austin Johnson from Buffalo. You got Raekwon Davis who was cut in Indianapolis. You got John Jenkins from the Raiders. You got be on the lookout for this guy because he was with the Jets last year. I don't know about his game. Leaky Fotu, right? Of course you got Jonathan Hankins. You got Maurice Hurst
Hankins
and
got released again.
say again.
Jonathan Hankins is on the market again.
He only signed a 1 year deal in Seattle last year.
I thought he had a good year last year.
Yeah, so I mean, my guy is I'm waiting on Tomlinson to break free, and that's who I'm targeting because I do not want to go into the draft and have to get we always fail when we have to go in snag a position
Desperation.
desperate like when we had to go get Taco. We had like when we had to go get
Mozzie.
what was the guy that we got from in 2019? We took a D tackle first pick. Our first pick was the second round from UCF.
Tristan, yeah.
Houston Hill.
Yeah,
Yeah,
him.
Tristan, yeah.
So like I don't want to do that. So I want to get all of these positions. So when you get in the draft, hey, if the best wide receiver falls to you, or you can trade around, or like trade back or do different things. If Genty fell to you, you could take him or whatever. You're free with everything. You've covered yourself at all bases to move her. But when we go into what we
BPA.
say, we got to get a first round. Like last year, that's why I was so mad last year that we let Tyron leave last year
and I know people even because there's been people saying, well, why don't you bring Tyron back? Yeah, to put Tyron, I think Newey and some of the other people that would be negative. What he missed so many games. Don't walk. No, don't go back. It doesn't matter. You're not asking him to be the end all be all. You're asking him to supplement Guyton. No different from last year. You were kind of stuck on an island last year because you cut him, so you had to take Guyton in the first round. Whereas if you had Tyron on your team, let's say you would have taken another position and took a tackle later in the second round or whatever. You're just pigeonholing yourself all the time when you don't fill all of your spots in free agency. They need to go out and just get all of the players for every spot.
They
What's
need
So
to
the
they
deal
fill
with
the pos- they
But
Will
don't
they,
have
that's
to
what,
even
Anderson?
be good.
hold up, dog. That's what they doing right now. They getting the linebackers. They got
Yeah.
I'm not
defensive
mad at what they're
linemen.
doing. They're just
I
not
mean,
doing enough.
it ain't but 3 days. But it's 3 days though. God damn. Wait a minute now.
Well,
Calm
hang on.
down.
I don't think
If
anybody's
it's only
saying.
been
Hang
three
on, hang on.
days.
I don't think anybody's saying there's an issue with what they're doing right now. Like what they're putting bodies in holes right now. That's fine. And then when you get to the draft, you'll see, what you need from that standpoint.
They're
So that's
doing what
okay.
Jerry said he wasn't going to
But
do.
but you can't go into the draft with basically 1.5 cornerbacks available right now. I mean, all your cornerbacks have injuries except for the guy they just brought over from Buffalo and Bland. That's really it. You can't go in the draft with like a plethora of cornerback holes or no one technique because Mozzie really is more of a 3T, even though they play him at one. Or no linebacker. Like they're filling the linebackers now today. We saw that. So as long as they're putting bodies in the positions, I'm cool with that. They don't even got to be that good, but at least don't go in there with a glaring
They
hole like
putting
that.
bodies in it though. I mean, that's the thing about it. I mean, they're doing something that we haven't seen in the last 2 years. They're really getting after it.
Yeah.
Or it's like making trades and stuff like that. We haven't seen it since the Cooks and the Gilmore year when we made them trades. But I mean, I'm impressed with what they're doing. I mean, because actually showing they're actually not on the yacht this time and hanging
Well,
out drinking a mojito
everybody
somewhere. And
everybody went into
I
this.
think they have no choice. They have no linebackers. They have nobody, so they have to make moves just to fill the
Everybody
hole.
went into this knowing they weren't going to make like a big day one splash, and you can say Osa was a day one splash because he was obviously a big signing, would have been a free agent. That's cool, but like we all knew they weren't going to go and like make a big splash. I think some of us hope they make a moderate splash with a linebacker or a nose tackle, and by some of us I mean speaking for myself, I was hoping they drop maybe 8 to 10 mil on a linebacker or defensive tackle. Okay, but we all knew they were going to be wave 2 and 3 participants because of the amount of holes they had to fill. And that's kind of what they're doing. They're just doing these wave 2 and 3 guys ahead of time, right? So I got no
What
issues.
about Will Hernandez?
I mean, yeah,
I
why
don't
not?
think you bring in
yeah,
another
but you
guard
got
at this point.
Robert Jones though. You got Robert Jones. You don't need another guard.
Yeah, so what's Robert Jones making?
I think
$3
it's like
million.
$3 million.
$3 million.
I mean, is he a candidate to be cut in camp if he's not?
But the thing about it is, you got Hoffman that plays that position. You have
Yep.
what's the other boy name? Bass.
TJ Bass.
You have TJ Bass. You have a
Bad.
lot. You have
You
a
got
lot of
4
guards.
guards. They don't need for a fifth guard. You don't need a fifth guard.
Not
I mean, you can
unless
bring
you were
Camp
going to
out
get a
in.
bona fide starter.
Well, they need to get a stud. Like in the draft, if they took Tyler Booker, I'd be cool with that. And then Hoffman goes sit on the bench. Sorry, bud. Like I'm cool with that.
Are there any good cornerbacks that we could take in the first round?
Corner?
In
Yeah.
the first round, there's 2 possibles, but I wouldn't take them in the first round. They're more later in the first round or second round. Jadon Barons from Texas or Will Johnson from Michigan.
Both trade back
I'm not
guys.
taking
What
Will
about-
Johnson because Will Johnson ain't even running in his pro day. He already got a hamstring problem right now. So
My
I'm
man's
good
pulling
on
out
that.
all the excuses not to run.
Well, the thing with Hoffman, though, my only concern is he hasn't played a full season. So.
Well, if they can upgrade, people poo-poo on the idea of taking a offensive lineman, tackle, or guard early in the draft, and I don't want to open up that can of worms right now. But that's why I'm like, we have question marks across kind of 3 positions on the offensive line. If they can fix one of them, and specifically to me, the right guard, I think is the most realistic one to fix. I'm cool with them taking a guard, maybe late in the first in a trade back or in sometime in the second.
With Guyton at left tackle?
I think so.
But Dylan, they're not gonna do it now though. Dylan, that's kind of a mute point. It's not gonna happen because unless you're gonna cut like.
But the
Bass
guy
or-
you signed doesn't mean anything. I mean, you can cut him in a heartbeat.
Yeah, but he's there now though. He's a body. And he's
He's a
forward,
body,
so you
right?
ain't gonna
You can go-
add a fifth guard.
you can
to
go-
see if he gonna just
You can go to the graveyard and dig up a body whenever you want to. You can cut this guy if somebody is in the draft and you're picking at 22 and one of these really nice offensive linemen are still there because there's only a handful of them, right? And one of them's still there, 22, 23. I consider it. Why
Yeah,
not?
only person.
Back, get that 4th round pick back. I'd be down.
Oh,
As
you
long-
you probably get a second and a fourth at that point.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
The
haven't
only
heard very
person.
positive stuff coming out from about the one we got from Miami. To be honest with you, from what I've been reading with some
You've
people.
seen positive stuff or have not seen
He played all
positive?
17 games. He's a guy. I mean, I've been trying to tell y'all for the longest that they really like Brock. So it's really going to be on Brock if he really want to come in and try to take this job. It's really his job. And right now, it's his job to lose.
I just feel like
So it's
Hoffman has limitations. If you have a sure thing staring at you in the face, and Hoffman's got limitations, so if you can overcome those limitations by drafting a guy with a better floor and a
What
better
would you
ceiling, I would do it.
number 2 wide receiver? Would you go free agency or draft?
Draft.
Yeah.
Draft. Give me Tet. Give me Tet, baby.
I will say this.
We can't take everybody in the first round.
What are you going to do at number 12?
Why not?
What would you do if Genty's there at 12 and Tet's there at 12?
I'm trading back.
I go Tet.
I take Tet.
I'm
trading back.
taking Genty. He's the better overall player.
Yeah, I'm taking Genty too.
I'm trading back, and someone's going to overpay.
What about if Genty's gone? Tet's there, but so was it Burden and the other guy?
No one's going to take Burden or Bika over or
I'm
Abuka
taking
over.
Tet. I'm taking
Wait, but what about trading back 4 or 5 spots?
No,
Well,
I'm taking Tet.
I'm 100% team trade back, whether Genty's there, whether Tet's there. I don't give a
Trade back.
damn.
Yeah,
I'm trading
I wanna
back
trade back,
almost
to
100%
be
of the
honest.
time.
We
Yeah.
need Tet is good, and we need a.
Yeah, but if
good
you
dual
trade
threat
back, you could
there.
get your 4th round pick back.
Shit, you
Yeah,
could.
but who are you really gonna have?
Oh, there's
Gonna
plenty of
be a
players to
bona
take.
fide big body wide receiver.
There'll be
That's
plenty.
There's other so
draft.
if you trade it back and you got Golden later or you got some other person, you can get another. You know, I want to trade back and get another. To be honest, I want to trade back to where somebody got to give me a third.
Yeah, no doubt. At least, yeah.
Yeah,
I don't.
and I don't want a big body wide receiver. I want somebody who could run.
I want a route runner. Give
Yeah,
me somebody that knows how to run
Yeah,
routes.
Golden and Abuka are route runners.
But they're not gonna be there in the 3rd.
Here's the thing, guys, is that
No.
my personal opinion, and you all probably know this by now, I think we're in a rebuild. We have way too many holes to sit here and say, I have to take this position or that position. I'm trying to stack picks, and I'm trying to get good to great players. And if I can get 2 really good players in the first round versus 1 elite talent, I'm probably going to do that. And I don't mean the first round, but, a really great guy in the first round and maybe pick up somebody in the second or third with your other pick. And they turn out to be really good players. I'm down with that.
They were in a rebuild, but what about if we pick up, let's just say Tomlinson, and then we go into the draft, and we fall back, we get, just for the hell of it, we get McMillan, and then in the 3rd round or 2nd or 3rd round, we get like the running back from like Ohio State.
It doesn't matter.
Good.
Here, check this out. So here's the holes.
A lot.
Here's the holes that Dallas had, and I think a lot of us are forgetting there's a new coaching staff here too, which that's going to take a couple of years to really take effect. You're not going to be, unless like baby Jesus descends from the heavens and blesses you, like you're going to have a tough time in the first year with the new coaching staff.
Wade Phillips went 13-3 his first year.
Yeah, did you see how stacked that team was, brother?
But I'm just saying, I mean, sometimes change as coaches helps just because it's.
Well, here's the holes that I see on this team. Okay, you got 2 holes on the offensive line, and I don't mean like the bodies aren't there, but I don't have a ton of faith in Guyton. I don't have a ton of faith in Hoffman. You got holes at defensive tackle. You got holes at linebacker.
Wait. No, go slow down. So, is there a left tackle that you would draft at 12? A tackle.
No, I don't think so.
Or fall back.
Hell no. That's from LSU. I'm not.
All right, hang on, everybody. We got the man himself in the house now, so let's involve him in the conversation, Mr. Nick Eatman. Let me shoot him an invite to speak up here.
Nick.
But yeah, I mean,
let's ask Nick the question.
Listen, yeah. There's the guy from
Would you take a tackle in the first round?
the Ohio State tackle.
Yeah, he
Josh
just got cleared
Simmons.
medically.
Yeah, I saw.
Now I don't think they will, because I don't think they're going to give up on Guyton.
But I think Simmons is your elite guy there, as far as
All right,
tackles.
everybody, we got Nico's best friend, Nick Eatman, on the line here. What's going on, Nick?
I'm a little flustered, though. I got rattled earlier today.
Right?
I got rattled.
Yeah, you were so rattled.
Had to go to a commercial break. He got you good.
I mean, I'm sorry. Don't we go to commercial breaks? Like, isn't that what we do?
You had time for 2 more calls and had a commercial to get in.
You
What
were
did
good,
homeboy
man.
want you to do?
You were good.
It's all right. It's all right. It was funny. I told Rob. I was like, Rob, you and I going at it. It's great. But like, he's like, I'm about to ruffle your feathers. I was like, no, dude, no, you're not.
You don't start a call by saying that. Yeah, that's crazy.
I told Nick, I said, me and Nick, I love the back and forth, and we've been doing it for years. Even,
Yeah.
he hasn't earned that.
Right.
And
Yeah.
for him to come on and be like that, I says, no,
Nah.
that's disrespectful. You ain't there.
It's all right. It's fun. Like I say this all the time. You guys, Rob, included. Like it makes the show better. It does. Now, I'll say this, Rob. When you start telling the fans not to buy the merchandise or go to the games and all that, like that's where I can't sit there and accept that. And I'm like, oh yeah, sure, nod away. I can't do that. So that's where it goes over the line. But I get the frustration. Like, I get it. Like, I'm an Arkansas Razorback fan. We don't win anything, and it sucks every year. And so I understand what y'all kind of go through. The difference is my expectations are not as high as they should be for Cowboys, and I get that. So,
But Nick, you know what the difference is? You're stuck at what kids come there. We look at it like, Jerry, you can go get these players. You could have signed Greenlaw. You only wanted to give him $8 million, and when the going rate was 12. You talk about you see the deficiencies in the team. I mean, we've been talking now for an hour or two, and we all know we need linebacker, we need defensive tackle. We've known this for years, and yet
they fucking know that too, though, Rob.
No, they don't, because he doesn't address it. He doesn't address
Who's coming in hot? Who's this?
Listen, dude, he dresses it. He's had some bad luck, or a lot of bad fucking luck. And we got, we went and got the D tackle a couple years ago. He helped out.
Let me ask you a question. In today's football, where your quarterback is making $60 million, $12 million a year ain't nothing. We just talked about how
if you don't have the money slotted at that position.
You got the money. You just freed up $60 million. You got.
Yeah, but like I was saying earlier, these positions are fucking slotted, dude.
But the biggest problem,
you know what I mean? There's only a certain amount of money they're going to pay for that position.
Hang on, I want to give I want to give Josh a chance to talk here. He's been waiting to talk for a minute here. So Josh, go ahead.
yeah, the biggest issue right now with what's going on is how their values are way off based on their evaluations or whatever they're doing. Jordan Lewis is a prime example of it. And I'm sorry, like at some point they have to look in the mirror and they have to look at how they are evaluating people, because it kind of showed. I mean, they swung and missed, right? Evidently they kicked the tires on some players, but they swung and missed pretty bad. And so now they're getting a little bit more creative, a little bit more antsy, But to me, it all comes down to their evaluation of players and how far apart they are on the dollars, and it's making them look bad in free agency.
Yeah.
I agree.
And years ago, that would not happen. What was the old saying? Well, if he comes to Dallas, Jerry's not going to let him leave. You remember you used to always hear that. Jerry's not going to let him leave. Shit. Now they come and eat Jerry's food and they're out. I mean, the Dallas Cowboys are not the destination they used to be.
Well, it's because, Rob, if you remember, 15 years ago, he got fucking crucified every year because he was spending money on the wrong free agents.
Who was crucifying him? Who did he spend money?
Well, hang on. I mean,
all the pundits that everybody listens
but wait,
to on
who did he
ESPN.
spend money on. He brought in two guys. He brought in the cornerback that what the hell was his name?
Brandon Carr.
Yeah, who was a very good cornerback. I mean, he wasn't Dion, but looking back on it, he was good.
The last external crucifixion came from Roy Williams, but I think if there's a crucifixion required, it should be due to the internal moves, the internal signings, the second contracts that don't pan out. That's where the crucifixion, if we're talking about that, should take place, not externally. These
Listen,
some of
you
these
don't wanna
second deals have
pay-
not been good.
You don't want to get a high price second wide receiver. I get it because you got CD. You don't want to get a high price defensive end because you got Micah. I get it. But you need a linebacker. You've needed a middle linebacker for years. You've needed defensive tackles for years. The only thing that protects Micah is stopping the run, and we can't do it.
So are you not happy with the Kenneth Murray signing?
No, he's a guy. He's a body. I like the guy from Chicago better.
Listen, see,
That's wild.
like I said,
Okay, that's wild.
What has Kenneth Murray done?
Well, listen, dude, we don't know a lot about what this defense, what the new coach wants it to look like. Now, what he's fucking told you is that he values the three technique more than anything on the line right now, right? Because that's where we went and put our money. And Matt Eberflus, even Nick, you were saying it, right?
We put our money there where?
At the three technique for Osa.
Okay, but Osa.
Because if I'd have asked you 2 weeks ago, Rob, you would have said, if we pay $15 million for Osa,
no. We talked about it earlier today.
You were saying that we were overpaying him at 15.
I wouldn't have paid Osa. Wait, I wouldn't have paid Osa at all. I would have rather had Jordan Lewis and either Greenlaw or Spillane.
Bro, that is
the price
wild. A defensive tackle who's missed one game? You wouldn't pay that man?
No, because I don't think he's good enough. I'd rather have two really good players than one good one. I would have rather have Greenlaw and Jordan Lewis.
That's wild, man. That's wild.
So you'd rather have Osa than Jordan Lewis and Greenlaw, is what you're saying?
I'm sorry to interrupt. Sad news. Tomlinson just signed with the Cardinals.
That was quick.
Wow.
I guess I'd rather have two good players than one good player.
Well, all I'm saying, Rob, it's not what any of us want. It's what the coaching staff is telling you about what this is going to look like. But he obviously values that three technique.
I understand, but
so he might like these types of quarters. Like the reason is they made trades today. That's huge because they handpicked these guys from other teams because probably of scheme fit and familiarity with some of the coaching staff.
Also because they were cheap.
Well, yeah. They, like I said, they got them. They have to slot them into a certain.
Yeah, but
you know what I mean. Money that they're willing
that's not going to. Let me tell you something. That's not going to be Philadelphia. That won't be Philly.
Well, who would have thought that Zach Bond would have made such a difference in Philly if you would have had that conversation last year?
Yeah, he'd have been one of these bums.
Zach Bond made a difference in Philly.
Yes, he would have been a bum that you're talking about, saying, "Oh, he's just not worth the shit because he was cheap."
No. The only reason why he made a difference in Philly is they have the best defensive line in football. If we had a great defensive line, you could go cheap at linebacker.
Name me the linebackers for Kansas City. Who's the linebackers for Kansas City?
Well, they just signed the guy that we kind of wanted.
Nick Bolton.
Okay.
We don't have any linebackers.
How great of a linebacker is Nick Bolton?
Okay, we don't have any linebackers.
We have
We got two today.
Who do we got?
That is wild, man.
We just got two guys today.
Name your starting linebackers today, right now.
It's impossible because you
No. Why is it impossible? You got one
because you don't play.
It's not impossible. You got Sandball, you got Leofow, you got Leofow, Sandball, and Murray.
Okay.
And probably whoever they draft maybe. But that's the stars right now.
Great linebacking crew all of a sudden? No. Would you have rather had Greenlaw or Spillane in the middle?
Don't know if they fit this scheme or not. You know, Eberflus wouldn't have. The guy that has the actual job
Yeah.
decided that he'd rather have these two than one Greenlaw.
Wait a
That's
minute.
what happened.
Eberflus has no say in any of that. You think Eberflus could go to
What?
Jerry? You think Eberflus could go
No,
to
no, no,
Jerry and say,
hell
"I'd
no,
rather have
no,
these
Rob,
guys"?
you can't say that. He
Disagree.
put them last.
We all still here? My Twitter's messing up. We all still good to
Yeah,
go here?
mine's yeah. We're breaking Twitter right now.
Yeah.
I'm here.
Eberflus a little too much power.
They do that with all the coaches, Rob. They always have. They always go to the coaches' schemes. They always ask. They were asking Zimmer last year. The reason you got Leofau and didn't get that running back was because of Mike Zimmer last year.
Eberflus, of course,
And
would have
because
rather
we
have a
needed to stop
Greenlaw.
the run.
Eberflus would rather have a Greenlaw. He would rather have a Spillane. They're better players. But Jerry said, "Listen, your budget is this: $4 million, $5 million. That's all you get."
I
Okay.
disagree. I think if he'd have really wanted that, he
What
could have
makes
strung him
Spillane so
better.
much better than Kenneth Murray?
Kenneth Murray hasn't done anything. Why are we all fascinated by Kenneth Murray?
Nobody's fascinated by him, but that it says something.
Spillane is a really
Transfer
good
guy
young
because
linebacker.
you're handpicking him. The guy that,
Who
sorry,
handpicked him?
whoever went and traded for him. Like
Okay, but
the coaching
that
staff obviously wanted this
doesn't
guy.
mean he's very good. It just means he was cheap and he fit the budget. I just said if money was no object,
He wasn't a free agent.
of course they would have rather have Greenlaw. If Greenlaw was $5 million and Murray was $5 million, who would you rather have? Greenlaw.
Okay, hang on. I just want to address something that we were talking about a minute ago. Okay, Spillane versus Kenneth Murray. All right, Kenneth Murray's. I'm just looking at PFF because I haven't watched any tape on either guy, but I do like I like what I've heard about Spillane. All right, Kenneth Murray's run defense grades absolute garbage, like one of the absolute worst in the NFL. Robert Spillane, one of the best in the NFL. So I need to stop the run. I'm investing in Robert Spillane. If I'm going to make a significant investment this offseason, it's going to be at linebacker. It would have been Greenlaw, or my preferred guy would have been Spillane because there's less injury concerns there. Obviously, Greenlaw has the injury. Okay. I'm also investing in a one technique. I'm going to expand that pie. I get what you're saying, Jeremy, and I agree with you. They have designated amount of cap they want to allocate towards these position groups. All right. I think the Osa signing is a mistake unless you pair him with a one technique, okay? Because we can't stop the run, and Osa can't stop the run by himself. He needs a one technique next to him to help him, and we don't have that right now. So
right, and I'm
that's where I
not
sit.
saying it was the greatest move. I'm just telling you to read the tea leaves. This is what Eberflus is telling you is what kind of defense he wants to run, where he values the three over the one, or maybe even over other parts on the defensive line, because we are paying a shitload for our three technique now, and we haven't for a while.
And it's
Honestly,
a good deal. Like it's fine,
not
but
a
you got to give him
shitload
help.
though. He's what is he?
Eberflus has always been
17.
about linebackers that can go sideline to sideline. They're quick. They're twitchy. He can bring them. Like that's just he's a pressure guy. That's how his defense is, and so that's why those guys make sense in that system.
I'm not saying they make sense or they don't make sense. I'm just saying they're not as good as the guys that we could have got. And
right now, Rob, right now, you don't know that moving forward. Sorry, I had to butt in real quick.
well,
This time.
on paper,
So
I do
Hey,
know that.
hey,
I know
hang on.
Rob,
Everybody,
can I ask you a
time out.
question, Rob?
Pause. Hang on. Before we proceed, all right. David's had his hand up for a minute. I got to get to these hands. So, David, if you got something to chime in, man, go ahead.
I got a question for Rob. So, Rob, do you think that coaches and schemes sometimes elevate players and make them better?
very, very rarely.
Whoa. Wait, everywhere Eberflus is gone as a either a linebacker coach or a head coach.
Well, he
His
was
linebacking.
terrible. Wait, he was a terrible head coach.
Oh, wait, I'm not talking about. Hold on, I'm talking about defenses here. I'm not talking about head coaching. I'm not disagreeing you there. Okay, everywhere he's gone as either a linebacker coach. When he was in Dallas, we had stud ass linebackers.
Okay.
When he made some stud ass linebackers.
Who was our linebackers when he was here?
Sean Lee.
Shit. Sean Lee was one of them.
Okay.
I think Dak Nguyen was one of them.
Okay.
Who else?
Rolando McClain.
Brady James. Brady
Okay.
James.
Who?
No, no, no,
McClain.
no, 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 no. You no.
That's too old. Yeah.
Are you
So
sure?
Sean Lee, Rolando McClain. I think a little bit of the back end of Bruce Carter.
Yep.
His best
Oh
years
yeah,
were
yeah.
with
Bruce Carter. That's right. That's right. Maybe that's
um
what I was thinking instead of
what's
James. I'm
what's the
sorry.
guy name
Caleb.
that signed in he went to we took him in like the fourth round. He signed with Kansas City.
I know who you're thinking of. That's another
Anthony
Oh,
Hitchens.
Hitchinson.
Hitchens.
Anthony
yeah.
Hitchinson. Anthony Hitchinson.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
Okay.
those were some of
Okay.
the guys that are Eberflus's during his tenure with us.
100%. So now let me just real quick. Just hear me out real quick. I'm not necessarily
Now
disagreeing.
those guys you just named are better than any linebacker we have right now.
Are they? Yeah.
Sure, Sean Lee and Rolando McClain. Rolando McClain was great. He was
Yeah,
just
but
a head case.
hold on, Rob. Just listen, hear me out, bro. Do you not think that Eberflus had something to do with those guys being better players? I mean, you gotta give the guy credit. When he went to
Okay, so
Indianapolis's defense sucked. They couldn't stop the run for shit. He brought his own guys there, drafted his own guys, and always had a great linebacking crew there. You couldn't run against Indianapolis. They were very tough to run on. Chicago,
yeah,
same
but wait,
thing.
they also you got to look at the whole package. Their line. I don't follow in it. I
Oh my
look at it
God.
like this with coaches.
Listen, proof
Coaches
is in
don't
the
make
all I'm
players great.
no, what I'm
Great
saying is
players make
proof is
coaches
in the
great.
pudding, Rob. Proof is in the pudding. The guy had everywhere he's gone,
Okay.
he's had a really good run stuffing defense and has always had really good linebackers. Always.
Okay, but
It
I,
doesn't
I
matter where.
understand,
So
but we don't have really good
hold on.
linebackers.
You're not listening. Who is to say that he doesn't think that these guys are gonna be really good linebackers? Like
Well, I would
we're
hope he would
basically
think that.
questioning a guy who's proven himself to everywhere he's gone has produced really good linebacker play and really good run stopping defenses.
Oh,
I personally think this is all I'm going to say to this situation. I think what they're doing is they're bringing guys in that exactly like you guys, some of these guys are saying on here, like Jeremy's saying and Josh is saying, is he's bringing in guys that he knows are going to work in his scheme, and he knows that are going to be productive and are going to buy in to his scheme. Thus, the Chicago kid. The Chicago kid is coming in here because he knows his
yes,
defense. He
I
knows his
I
scheme.
I like him. I
Okay,
like him.
but we don't know. I mean, yeah, he looks good on film. We don't know if this other linebacker that they're bringing in isn't the same type of situation. Like,
No, no,
It
no.
could be Zach Bond this year, man.
What you're saying, you can't argue because it's hypothetical. You
well, no, it's not hypothetical
Yes,
because
it is.
everywhere
What you're saying is
no,
we
it's not
don't
because
know
everywhere
what
he's
he's
gone, he's done the
okay.
same thing. He's
But you
brought in the
just
guys that he's
named
wanted that were
some of the
nobodies, and he
best
made
linebackers.
somebodies.
Listen, was Lawrence Taylor the greatest linebacker ever? Yes. Could he be coached by anybody? Yes, because he was the greatest. All I'm saying is Sean Lee was incredible. Rolando McClain was really good. So
Okay,
all I'm
no,
saying
no
is
kidding, Rob. We know that, but those guys are a diamond. Those guys aren't a diamond. Those are
no,
far
but
few
all I'm saying
between.
is I
You
as a
got
fan,
11 guys on the field.
as a
Three
fan,
of them are linebackers,
I
sometimes
hope
four.
this guy could coach these linebackers up. All I'm saying
Well,
is
haven't he proven that already? I think that's the
no,
whole
he
point.
hasn't.
Is what we're trying
No,
to say.
because all I'm saying is he could have started with better players to begin with.
Maybe players that don't fit his scheme. Jeez, that's what we're trying to tell you.
I don't. What do you?
Maybe
Wait a
those
minute.
guys
Wait a
don't
minute.
fit his scheme.
He didn't bring in these guys because they fit his. He brought these guys in because they're cheap.
All
They're
right,
Oh,
great.
really?
hang on,
Really?
hang on.
So the
Time
guy
out,
from
time out.
You don't
Chicago came over
trade.
here because he
Hang on.
doesn't fit his
That
scheme.
guy. That
Hang on,
guy.
how do I do
Yes,
this?
but
Mute space. All right, I gotta mute the space. This is getting crazy. We're gonna have to go to hands here because this is getting a little wild and crazy. All right, everybody, put your hands down. We're gonna start fresh because this is getting crazy. All right, who wants to talk? Put your hand up. Dark, go ahead, man. Unmuted. You should be able to unmute yourself, Dark. Go ahead.
Okay, so I get what everybody's saying. Y'all are right. We don't know if some of these players, I think that everybody we want for the Cowboys is not necessarily players that the Cowboys even desired to go after. Unless we were to know exactly who they targeted, even if they lost out in the bidding war, hypothetically, like say like Greenlaw, where allegedly they went after him with a certain amount of money, we can't be upset with every player we don't get because we want them. When the front office has no intention of ever going after them for fit reasons. Additionally, I wanted to bring up before I had my hand because EJ Speed, who was drafted in Indianapolis under um, Eberflus, he's currently a free agent right now. He's somebody that could be had out there. And one thing I like about Eberflus, and if you look at like Zaire Franklin, these were in a lot of the linebackers, even the guy that we got today, Spill no, what's the guy name? The guy that's coming there. A lot of these linebackers and players that he's gotten to develop in his defenses have not all been first round, second round, third round talent. He's been able to get later guys, guys that nobody really wanted, and he's been able to get them to blossom. I think that's one thing that this current coaching staff or they're looking for from them to develop a lot of talent. That's why they went out and traded for these pieces that have not blossomed other places because they figure at least if they got these certain amount of traits, maybe this developmental staff with a lot of these teachers and college coaches can actually get the best out of some of these players. And again, Eberflus having had a track record of doing that exact thing. Specifically, he made Pro Bowl linebackers out of a lot of players that were not highly drafted.
Yeah. No, so they have visions for these guys, and I agree with you. And Nick, feel free to jump off mute, man. This is your space as much as any of it is ours. So feel free to jump in whenever you want to. But I mean, we talked about this off season. They got to sign a lot of guys, and a lot of these guys are going to be lower tier players that they have visions for. So I think that's what we're seeing now.
Yeah, I think you guys are passionate tonight, and maybe this is just normal, but
Now this is a rollover from today's show, brother.
it's good stuff. I mean, I think you're right, and everybody's kind of right here because it's hard. It's hard to know exactly, what these guys are wanting and all that stuff. I'll say this though, like you know, every free agent's out there, obviously for a reason. Because whether they didn't want him for the price or they're hurt or whatever it is, everybody's got some kind of warts. We know that, and I think scheme matters. But yeah, it's to me like free agency's like Kohl's. You go shopping at Kohl's. I mean, you're gonna find some good stuff. You're gonna find some crap. I mean, like it's there for a reason. And so, I mean, I don't know. I think the Cowboys have gotten a lot of guys, but I'm a little surprised with the Murray one. That's the one that I think is really kind of intriguing. You just kind of wondering why he's out there because he's a guy that's been productive, but I'm not really sure kind of why he's out there. But that's a good one. I thought that's probably the best one I think they've gotten so far. And I just think they think of him better than Greenlaw, and cheaper. I mean, not better, but just cheaper there. But
Better
that's it.
value, sure. David.
Well, Dylan
Oh,
said that
sorry. Go ahead, Rob.
he's traded. He's got a very bad against the run rating.
I'm looking at PFF because I haven't watched any Kenneth Murray film, and his run defense grades are atrocious from 2021 to 2024. Maybe that's with the Chargers, that's with Titans. Maybe it's a system thing. I don't know. I know we got a lot of faith in Eberflus, so I'm excited to see if he can turn that around
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
So
I mean, but think of it like this, dude. I mean, they lost 50 spots in the draft. They got a seventh, gave up a late sixth.
Yeah.
For a guy that's led two different teams in tackles. So I mean, I think that's one of the things they're looking at. But also, this might not be a good thing, but he dominated in the game against the Cowboys in I guess 2023, 22. The Monday night game with Kellen was their coach there. I get my years mixed up, but He dominated that game, and that might actually have kind of put it on their radar a little bit. I don't know, but I mean, 7.5 million. What Greenlaw's about 12. I think that that's bargain shopping to a T. That's what they do.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it happens a
yeah.
lot. To your point, the team gets their ass kicked by somebody, and all of a sudden, a year or two later, they end up on that team. It's kind of funny.
To
I
me,
wish they would have
this
got
league
Randy
is all
Moss.
about players. You got to
Randy
have
Moss.
players. Coaching matters, but no coach turns a good player into a great player. Great
I
player.
disagree with that. I disagree with that.
Well,
Rob,
great.
I don't. I
Belichick
got an
is
example.
considered the greatest, and when Brady left, he didn't do anything. You look at every single week, every coach that we consider great, they all had the best players, the best quarterbacks of all time. Bill Parcells is the only one that never had a great quarterback, but he did have the greatest defensive player that ever lived. I mean, San Francisco was just loaded across the board, and so was Dallas. To me, this is a players' league, and the team that has the best players, a la Philadelphia last year, was the perfect example. They were great everywhere you looked, and they looked it, and that's why they blew Kansas City off the field. And even though Kansas City has the best quarterback, Philadelphia was just better everywhere. And to me, you got to get players. And if you're going cheap, where your rivals are not, you can't catch up unless you
Here's
have
where I have an issue
Dan
with
Marino or John Elway, and we don't have that.
they haven't to this point. To this point, now this is obviously March 12th. This could all change once the season begins. But to this point, in our eyes, they haven't signed impact players to negate what our division rivals are strong at, and that's obviously with the Eagles running the football. I'm very concerned about the Cowboys in that regard. Still, well, it's to be determined, I guess, if they can succeed there or sign anybody else or make trades, draft, whatever it might be to improve in that regard. David, I wanted to go to you next, man.
Hey, sorry, I wasn't meaning to get off on a tangent there, but all I was trying to say is, and I mean, you guys can chime in on this, but okay, I agree with you guys. It's been frustrating last few years free agency wise, right? But we did come in with a whole new coaching staff, whole new philosophy, whole different scheme of things. It's just going to be way different than it's been in the past. Since McCarthy's been there, even before McCarthy, based off of just what Shotty's said and what he's trying to do there. And all I'm saying is, I mean, I watch this stuff just as much as you guys do, right? If not more. I'm on Twitter freaking 24/7, more so than I should be, to be honest. Can't get shit done because I'm always on it, especially the last 2 days. But anyways, my point is that what I'm seeing, and maybe Nick can touch on this too, is I'm seeing that based off of everything that Shotty has said from the time he did his introduction interview with the Cowboys, and him saying that he wants to be physical, he wants to be um, he just wants to make a much more physical football team, make things look the same in every which direction, whether it be on offense, on defense, and he just sounds like he wants to make this football team a lot more physical and make other teams think a lot more when they're playing the Cowboys. And based off of what I'm seeing and what they're doing offensively, defensively, just in free agency alone, I can see where it's kind of transitioning into that. You're going to youth, looks like you're signing players that are younger, you're signing players that are, or trading for players that are younger, whichever you want to look at it. You're getting some guys that are physically just animals. I mean, these linebackers are signing aren't small guys. You're also getting, a running back that's physical. It's way more powerful than Dowdle was. He's adding, I know it's not a big deal, but the Jones from Miami, that's a big kid, man. It's a big dude. For what I'm seeing is basically what we've been kind of asking for is, it seems like to me like a punch you in the mouth physical football team is what he's trying to create. And I think we've asked for that, and I think we're kind of getting it, and yet we're still bitching about it. And I think that's what frustrates me more than anything is that, I can see it, but maybe I'm seeing it, and maybe I'm wrong, but I don't know. That's just my thought process. That's what I'm saying. I'm seeing them going youth, speed, and power is what I'm looking at. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's just my thought process, and I'll listen.
No, you're like every fan on this call right now. We all have hope. It's hopium, like Travis says. It's hope. We
Who's
hope
Travis? I'm just
these
playing.
guys all work out. We hope that these, this coaching staff is better. But they've yet to bring in a player that's a starter.
Well,
Maybe
hang on though, Rob.
maybe
I think
Spillane is
there's
the only starter they brought in.
if we pull into some science into that, I kind of disagree with you a little bit. I'm looking at again. I'm living on PFF here. This linebacker Jack Sanborn. We're talking about run defense, right?
I'm
That's one of
sorry,
our
yeah,
biggest concerns.
Sanborn, that guy.
Right,
I
not
think
Spillane
he's the
Sanborn,
only
but
starter they
his
brought in.
grades are almost on par with Spillane. So it's a step down. But I mean, with Eberflus, I mean maybe not. Who knows? It's to be determined. I don't have an
Nick, what are
issue
your
with the
thoughts
way
on
they've
what I said?
conducted.
Am I you're inside there? What do you think? Is that something that am I kind of on the right page there? Maybe what you're seeing inside
Are,
looking in.
are you talking about from a standpoint of like the physicality and like what they're trying to bring in?
Yes, more of
Yeah,
like a punch you in the face type
yeah.
football team that's not going to back down from anybody, and we're going to attack versus being attacked.
I think so. I mean, that's what it seems like. I mean, I don't hate the running back at all. I like him. I mean, I don't. He's not going to be in the league forever running like that, But I like him. But I do think that it's going to be a situation where I mean, Clayton Adams talked about a violent football team. That's the kind of running back that you need for that. Obviously, on the defensive side, we'll see. But I don't know, guys. I think that it's too early to tell exactly what any of these guys are going to be because it's all about the fit that they, what they're looking for them, what they want them to be on this football team. And I do think that like Sanborn and Murray, they have. I mean, they have a good fit for them. Like that they see a vision for them. Solomon Thomas, I think, is he's Chauncey Golston in my opinion, just not as young, but that's kind of what that is. But there's a theme to these all these picks. I mean, how many first rounders are there? 4.
Yep.
So that Bill Parcells said it a long time ago, and I think Jerry listens to that. He says at some point somebody thought these guys could play, and he went and got Mark Colombo for that very reason, and that worked out. And so I think now
Leonard
they do it
Davis
all the
too.
time. What?
Leonard Davis, yeah.
Leonard Davis too at the Saints.
Leonard Davis, 100%, yeah. And so, Rob, when you said coaching, doesn't really like you can't make a guy a great player. The first thing I think of is Flozell Adams because everybody wanted to run him out of town except for Parcells, who was like, "This is a great player. Look at him." And then he's a 5-time Pro Bowler. But there's not a lot of examples of that. But either you have it or you don't. But I do think that in the right fit, I think some of these guys, like the guy from the Saints, I forget his Peyton. It's all running together right now, but
Peyton
the guy
Turner.
they brought in from the Saints, he's
Peyton
a guy
Turner.
that I could see having a little bit more success than he certainly has shown before.
Yeah, we're
Hey,
the
Nick,
girl that's in
oh,
the relationship with the bad boy, and we're gonna fix him. We're gonna fix him. Hang on one second, Jax. Let me get to Davion first, and then I'll go to you. Go ahead, Davion.
Yo, 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 what's up, Nick?
Hey, buddy.
Man, I tried to get in today, bro. It was a hard time. I fell asleep trying to do it. I was like, yeah, I ain't gonna be able to do it this week.
Well,
So I'm
Tamara
happy
got
to have you on tonight.
500 calls. He said
I need to see
Who
a
did
screenshot
500?
on that one.
the girl at the end, Tamara. That's what she said. 500
Oh,
calls. So
yeah, it's hard to get in on that one day, but I mean, I would definitely. I mean, just to piggyback on what Dave was saying, I mean, at the end of the day, I'm drinking. I got the Kool-Aid out for me. I'm ready because Shotty got me. Shotty had me at the combine when he was talking. I was like, oh wait a minute, they was right. He actually can woo you when he just get to talking. I'm like, okay. So I'm like, yeah, I'm excited for these guys we got. I think the linebackers are gonna be run hit. Go get some. Demo like he coming along, so we might be able to get him back mid-season. So I think we got Leah foul, and he runs like with his hair on fire. So
yeah.
I'm excited the way we going. So I'm like, I can't poo poo on none of the stuff we got going because baby, we have got in the first 3 days we are making moves. They are not on the yacht chilling. They are making moves. We are getting guys, and we still got the end of the week. And hell, you might drop the Micah contract here by the next couple of days. I hope. That's what my hope is, but we'll see. But yeah, you get Micah signed, and then you got some more money to play with. So But I think right now where it's trending to be is in the first round, we might be in direct path with T Mac because I think Genty might be gone by the Raiders, but we'll see. Uh, but yeah, I'm excited. I'm drinking my Kool-Aid right now.
Awesome.
Yeah, I have no issues with the way the Cowboys are doing things right now in free agency. They got a bajillion holes to fill. They're filling holes with some bodies. Some of them are lesser bodies than others, but
Hey,
it's all part of
Dylan.
the process. What's up, Nick?
Dylan, I'll say this though, and I think a lot of you guys would agree. This team, not just for the fans, it's not for the fans, it's for the team as well, the players. They need to go get a stud. They need to get a splash. I don't think the Bills corner is the one. There's some stuff out there. I don't know if Cooper Cup. I think there's interest, but I don't think the Cowboys are going to spend the money it's gonna take for him. But I think this team needs it, and the players need it as well,
Who do you have in
not just
mind?
the fans.
You have a position or a player in mind?
No, no, I don't think it matters if it's a need. But I'm saying go in there and get a guy that is a starter, that is change the narrative, show the fans, show the team, show the people, organization that you're not okay with just doing the way you've always done it. Make a splash, do something. You're 7-10, so the philosophy isn't, the model isn't working as well as it's worked before. So and like let's be clear, their drafting has fallen off.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
that's to me when the teams that are doing all this in free agency, they're not drafting well. Cowboys have hit a lull, I think, in the last few years, and so this is what opened the door for that. And I think they do it. And instead of signing 12 solid players, I'd rather them sign 9 and 1 stud, and 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 then deal with that with undrafted free agents, rookie free agent, whatever you have to do to make up the difference there. But at least you need a stud. I think it goes a long ways more than just getting 12 solid players.
I totally agree. And your two best players on the team, CD and Micah, are calling for it.
Yeah.
They're just, and they're saying it publicly. You need to give us help. And
Yeah.
I agree.
Do you
Either
think the front office sees? Go ahead, Rob. Sorry.
stud second wide receiver. You need a playmaker. It can't be, even though we need him, it can't be a big fat sloppy defensive tackle. That's not what they're taught. They need a
Yeah.
playmaker. They need somebody either draft a Genty or a second wide receiver, somebody that has some flash, but could actually pick these guys up to say, hey, this guy's almost as good as me or is as good as me. Now let's go. And I think you're absolutely right, Nick,
I
because
had a conversation today with a guy that said, he came up to me and said, "Oh, we're going to get Cooper Cup." Huh? I started laughing. And he's the guy that I would ask the question to. So he beat me to the punch. But he said, I think we're interested, but we're looking at it as somebody that could really run. That's kind of
Mm.
what we're looking at here. As good as he is, if they know they have to pay some, I think their preference is somebody that can actually run down the field and make like has a little bit more juice.
like a
Um,
Tyreek Hill.
Well, we did re-sign Turpin. He can run.
he can run. I think, and all of his incentives, if he makes his incentives, all of those incentives are going to be on offense. Every one of them. I said that on the show today, but he could have 5 kick returns. That's not what's going to get him the extra money. It's the offense. So, if that being said, then that better be a part of the plan. You know what I mean? I'd hate for his agent to work that deal, and that's not part of the plan. So,
So you want
but
that splash? Do you think the front office could see the Osa signing as the big splash of the
yeah,
offseason?
yeah. Yeah, and fans don't see that all the time. They don't. They like, oh, okay, that's your own. That doesn't count. It's like just I've made this analogy before. Little kids, they don't. You can't tell them they got 37 toys at the house. They want the one that's on the rack right
You're
now.
telling
You
me.
can't. And so, yeah, I mean, well, I'm sure a lot of people can nod their head on that one. You know what I mean? You don't tell a kid at Target like you've got that toy. Like no, no, no. So,
But this one's
um,
blue.
I
yeah,
think
right.
the
Yeah, this is the blue one.
I think the Osa signing is good because I think they got him cheaper than maybe they even thought.
Yeah,
But it doesn't make you better. It keeps you the same. And if Micah is not talking about signing Osa, and CD is not talking about that, especially Micah, because he'll tweet it all the time.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, you're
And
right.
but he's absolutely right. He sees Philadelphia loading up, and he's like, give me one of those guys. Give me one of those guys, and we could do something. A Saquon Barkley type. We talked about it earlier, Nick. I don't think you're on. We were dead even with Philadelphia up to last year, even with the AJ Brown signing and those defensive linemen and their offensive line. It was Saquon who pushed them over the top, and it changed the whole dynamic in the league. He took a really good team, and now they're great. And we fell back now so far that the gap is really big between us and Philly.
Yeah.
And I think Mike is saying, I need somebody to close the gap. If I'm going to sign for 5 years and CD is going to be here, then we need a running mate. And I agree with you. It has to be a playmaker. It can't just be a guy.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's no offense to the fans or the like organization like myself. No, I mean it's those players, it's the guys. They need it too. They need it, and that would be the reason that they need to change that, because they can see the writing on the wall. They have a lot of Jags, so
Oh, they got a lot of them.
yeah. And they added some, and you knew that they would. I mean, when you look at the free agents, I mean, like, it's not like they're losing a lot of studs. I mean,
No,
they lost some.
I think they're backfilling exactly what you said. They lost Golston, Solomon Thomas, kind of the same guy.
Yeah,
You know, that the guy from the Saints, we really don't know, but he looks the part. So yeah, okay, he could be a pass rusher. You know, uh, the linebacking crew with the kid from Chicago and the guy
yeah,
from Tennessee, that looks like an upgrade compared to what they had. I'll give him that. And the cornerback they traded for, I really have no idea about him. And I hope he ends up just being a backup, because that means Diggs comes back healthy,
sure.
you know. But
Did
I
anyone
agree. Right
see
now,
this?
it's a push. Little bit. I give them a little better grade because of the linebacker. Is the linebacker was better today than it was last week?
Half
So
an hour ago, you were shitting all over it, man.
No, no, no. I don't think it could have been better. If you would
Jesus, are you
if you would have
hearing yourself?
I rated a 6 or a 7,
Well,
but it could have been an
Jeremy,
8
Jeremy,
if you
it's because
brought
you
in
You
did such.
called them
Spillane.
Hang on,
losers. You
hold up,
called
hold
both
up.
those linebackers
No, I didn't say
losers.
they're
Jeremy,
They've
losers.
never done
Jeremy,
anything.
I didn't say they
Jeremy,
were
Jeremy, and
losing.
Rob. Hang on.
I
Jeremy,
just said they're not as good as it could have been.
you've done such a good job, Jeremy, at changing Rob's mind. So just take that as a win, and we'll move on.
No, no,
Let me
no.
get
But
to.
wait, it's not that I didn't say they're losers. I just said Spillane or Greenlaw are much better players.
All right,
And you
I'm,
said
hang on.
Eberflus had no influence whatsoever,
I don't
and
think
that
so.
these have nothing to do
No,
with being his type of guys. And I'm
no.
telling
Well, the
you,
guy from
they
Chicago,
traded
yes.
for him. They trade when you trade for a guy, you're going out and handpicking that guy and saying, okay, this is the guy I want because
Yeah,
he's
but you're
going to fit
making it.
my
Wait a
system
minute.
or
You
whatever.
made
Hang,
it
guys. All
sound
right, hang on.
like he.
All right, I gotta mute the space. I got hands here. I gotta get to. Sorry. I know it's passionate, but I gotta get to these hands that are up too. Dark. Let me go to you, brother. Go ahead.
No, I was just seeing as like several defensive players like Micah, Sam Williams, and some of the other guys. I think that they're tweeting some variation as like their time or whatever. So I guess some. I know we wanted to hold on to some of these other players or sign some of these, but maybe the Cowboys' plan is, hey, Nealon, Sam Williams. I know you're dependent on a lot of guys that have been hurt or whatever, but now, hey, this young, you've gotten all of your leaders out of the room. It's new leadership, and it's now your young batch of players. It's their time to shine. I mean, I don't necessarily agree with it because I feel seem like you're doing a rebuild, retooling all the time, where it's going to put your team in this cycle of, hey, you're not going to be ready to really compete until it's time to now re-sign Dak. again or re-sign CD. But it seems like they're just that's their thing. They're handing it over to their young players and expecting them to now be the leaders that Lewis and Lawrence and a lot of the other guys have been. And the players again, I've been watching their social media. They seem to be putting out messages of the sort.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't know if that was going to me or not, but guys, this is fun. Like I'm entertained by this just because everybody's got their own opinion, and this is the kind of stuff that I mean, like this kind of debates happen inside the building too, happen at lunch, happen all the time. We don't have all the answers either. We kind of roll our eyes on stuff, and if you guys want to roll your eyes on something, how about this? I was told this today about linebacker that this staff actually is excited about Damone Clark and giving him a different kind of position, different role than he's had in the past. And I kind of was like, oh, all right. I kind of forgot he was on the team, but so that's. I think what I'm saying is coaches are very very egotistical. They like to think they can fix everything. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Hey Nick, real quick. So, do you see is the feeling around there that they aren't done? What kind of sense are you getting just based on what
Oh
you're
yeah. Yeah, I don't think they're done at all. And I'll say this, like they had the Brandon Stevens one is disappointing, um, because from what I was told, Brandon Stevens' deal was pretty much done with the Cowboys at about 10-8 a year, and he goes to the Jets for 12. But you know, dollars in your pocket, like it's actually a little more money for the Cowboys. If he would have gone to the Cowboys, you know what I mean? Like there's more money in his pocket, but that's kind of how that thing went down. My point about that is that's the kind of money they were looking to spend. That's the kind of money that they've had out there. So I still feel like there's going to be a few more moves. I mean, you know, when they started, they only have 41 players on the roster. They're going to have some players. They got to sign some guys. So they will. I just hope there's a splash, at least one, a splash and a half. If that makes any sense, just a couple of more guys in here, I think would be better.
All right, let me go back to the hands here. We got David up next, and then Paula, and then Kyle. Go ahead, David.
Cool. Hey, just to check on that, just so everybody knows, and last year at this time, we had signed one free agent, one at this time last year. No trades, no nothing. So obviously something has changed in that building. Obviously, I know they have cap space and they obviously have to have a lot of holes to fill. But just to kind of give you an idea, so sometimes you have to give a little bit of credit where credit's due. But real quick, what do you guys, Nick? Maybe this is your thought, or whoever wants to chip in on it. But just quick question: if Dallas signed Micah Osa and picked up like a Lockett or a Cup or Samuel Jr., would that solidify kind of like what you're saying, Nick? What do you guys think?
I think so. I mean, I think that would, I think this team's thirsty for the fans, are thirsty for a name, I mean, not just a name, not just a first round pick. They got plenty of first round picks. They need guys that are difference makers, that are free agents because their team couldn't afford them, not free agents because they tore their ACL last year or their Achilles or they're a bad locker room person and maybe this coach can fix them. A free agent that's out there because it's just too expensive.
So Jordan
And
Lewis.
and that's,
Tell me you're
So
not
would
a Diggs
so would
fan without telling me you're not a Diggs fan.
hold
Just
on.
kidding.
Yeah.
So would Micah qualify in regards to that? Like to me, if Dallas signed Micah to an extension, signed Osa, and let's just say they got a Lockett, a Cup, or a Samuel, I think that's like, I mean, like to me, signing Micah to an extension is like a huge deal
But why?
because obviously
Why
he's
though?
the best.
I
He's
don't
the
think
best.
everyone thinks that way though.
But wait, why would you give them credit for signing maybe the best defensive player in the league?
Well, why would you give him credit for signing a free agent that comes out of somebody else's
No, but
franchise?
what I'm saying is
What's the point?
signing Mike
It's the same shit.
is a no-brainer. I mean, who would let him go? No one.
What do you mean? What? Wait, I'm confused. So if they sign him, you're gonna be
No,
happy about it. If they let him go, then you're gonna be unhappy
no.
about it. If they bring in a guy, if they
It
bring a
doesn't
guy,
change.
let's just
It
say,
doesn't
hold on,
change the
let's
needle.
just say that they Hendrickson is a free agent. He's not, but if he was,
Okay.
and they signed him this year and didn't sign Micah, would you be pissed?
Of course, but that's
okay. Well,
that's
I'm
dumb.
saying, I know that the caliber of
Rob,
players.
Rob,
There's a little
Rob,
bit of
let me help you. Let me help you. I think what he's saying is a splash is getting an outside player addition. You
No,
already
no,
have
I
Micah.
understand it, but that's not
Micah,
what he's
no,
saying.
no, what?
He's saying signing Micah Parsons would be a splash.
Yes, and I'm
And it
helping
would
you
not.
out.
Yeah,
And I'm
Rob,
helping you
Dark's
out.
on your side here, brother. He's got you.
What I'm saying is signing Micah is not a splash because he's already on your team.
Yes.
Bringing an outside piece, let's say, and I mean, at this point, I don't know how many splashes are left, but let's say if you sign Zadarius Smith, that's a splash I mean, that's a
No,
half a splash or
no,
something
that's
like that.
not a splash. That'd be a good signing at all. I'd be for
I
that.
said a half a splash.
Okay.
I'm just giving an example.
Yes.
So at this point, we're looking for that re-signing anybody that's
No,
on
no,
the
but
team.
wait a minute. I'm not giving the Dallas Cowboys credit for signing probably the best young defensive player in the league.
That's
You
exactly what I'm saying, Rob.
you
I'm
be
saying what you're saying.
you would be foolish to let that guy walk out of the building. So to me, in my brain, he's already signed. I know that deal's going to get done. As 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 much as I think Jerry may be losing a step, he ain't lost it that much. What I'm saying is what Micah is saying and what CD Lamb is saying is give me a running mate, give me hope. I'm going to be here for 4 or 5 years and I'm trying to win a championship. If you're going to pay me $40 million or whatever, give me hope because if not, I could leave and get the 40 million from 31 other teams. Somebody's going to give me that.
All right,
So
Rob.
just give them hope.
Who's your player? One player on offense. You get to pick it right now and say, just like you did last year with Barkley. If you said it had gone either way, right? If we'd have got Barkley, we'd be the better team than Philadelphia right now, right? One guy on offense to make a splash.
That's available.
Yep. Who's it going to
I
be?
got to be honest.
Your big free agent. Who is it?
I don't know if there really is one on offense.
So you'll whip their ass every fucking time you call in the Knicks show because
I'm trying to think.
why? Because
I don't know if
they
there's a
don't go
big.
after if you got all the answers, right? Who's your one guy on offense that will elevate this team to Super Bowl level, you know, as far as offense or top 5 offense in the league, let's say.
Offensive line. I would get a left tackle. If I could snap my fingers and get a really good starting left tackle, that's what I would do because Dak has showed that if he does not trust that left tackle, he doesn't play good.
Okay, fair enough. Now,
I don't know if there's one
your
available.
big thing is free agency.
Ain't one
Guess
available
who
though.
never gets to free
Yes,
agency?
Cam Robinson is
Guess
available.
who never gets to free
He's not.
agency?
He's not. He's not. He's not.
I'm
He's
just
just a
saying.
Left
guy.
Wait,
tackles never get to
but
free
wait.
That's
You
agency.
why he's
asked
still
You know what
me,
I'm
available.
talking about.
but you asked me what would I add to this team right now? It would be a left tackle. But if
Okay, but there's not one out
I
there.
understand. So
So
honestly, they
does
need a running
anybody
back.
else get what I'm saying here?
No, no.
If
Get
you're all
me
about free agency, then
okay. Go
who's
get
the
me a running
guy?
back in the draft. Get me a running back that could break a run all the way to the house
Well,
like
that's
Collins did.
drafting. That's not free agency.
I know this free agency is all about the defense. All the best free agents are on the defensive side, and go get one. Go get one.
Okay.
All right. Let me
Get a.
hang on.
And
Let's pull
I
back.
don't even know if there's any left.
Everyone pull back. We got Rob's out here like the last Alamo. He's defending himself on all fronts here all night long here. He's even
My
friendly fire with
goodness.
Dark. Dark's trying to have his back. He's like, no, Dark, no. But I digress. Anyways, let me get back to these hands here. Paula, I got you up next, and then Kyle.
Okay. So this question is for Nick. Um, have we heard anything as far as Cooks?
Brandon Cooks. I get the sense that he is not coming back.
Okay.
Unfortunately, he's counting. I think it's like 4.5 million or so dead money already on the account. That doesn't necessarily matter. I don't get the sense he's coming back, but it could be one of those things where you go out, you test the market, you see, and it's I don't think it would be the worst thing in the world, but I know there was some interest in, and you guys might know this better than me. Is Michael Gallup signed with somebody?
No, but I think they were looking. I think the
No,
Commanders
but
were
he
possibly
doesn't want to
looking.
come back.
Didn't he have an
But
interview or something with the Raiders? Didn't he
With
meet
the
with the Raiders?
Commanders.
no, no,
On his
no.
side.
Commanders.
He was
Washington.
going with the
He went to the he went
Oh,
on a
Commanders.
meeting
Commanders.
with the
Sorry.
Commandos.
Sorry.
Commanders.
Sorry.
Yep.
Sorry. Yeah. Commanders. Yep.
Yeah. The only reason I asked is just because we didn't use Cooks like we could have last year.
Totally agree.
So that was one of my questions. I mean, that could be maybe a nice small contract. Maybe we could help us
Here's
out a little bit
here's
in
a
the wide
little
receiver room.
here's a little insight that I might have said on the show. I don't know if I say it all the time on the show. I try not to, but from my understanding about Cooks, 2 years in a row that McCarthy had a meeting with the analytics people about what kind of routes Cooks is running. And these 6 yard, 8 yard comeback routes where he's fighting the corner who's sitting on top of it, like that's not his play. He's got to go 10 yards, drag across the field, use his speed,
He's your deep threat.
that, but also on the move east and west. And
Right.
after a meeting at this first year with the team, they said, hey, these are the type of plays we got to use for him, and he started to play. He scored some touchdowns. He was a much more of a difference maker. Then the same thing happened again, and he had another meeting. It was like the exact deja vu all over again. Like, hey, we got using Cooks the right way, and then he got hurt. But it was 4 weeks into the season where the same stuff was happening, and it's like, haven't we already been through this? So I think that was a more frustrating thing, and maybe frustrating for Cooks. But he's such a pro. He's not the he's a weird receiver because he's really good and talented and not really a diva.
Thank you for
Yeah.
saying that,
No.
man. I
Exactly.
love that guy. I love that guy.
Now,
I
one of the
mean,
reasons.
Nick's trying to trigger me right now. Hey,
Oh,
I gotta go to work. I don't want to get triggered by McCarthy and his trash ways of using out. Okay, I'm trying to go to work. Oh, God damn it! I swear to God.
you out of here,
Honest.
Davian?
Yeah, I'm
Hey,
about to roll. I'm about to roll. I gotta go and get and ship these trucks and vans about here. But I
All
get it,
right.
y'all.
all right.
Have a good night,
Hey,
Davian.
and let me reiterate this about McCarthy. I think it's annoying when people's trash people, coaches stuff that aren't here anymore. Hey, it didn't work. He was good, solid coach, but I just think they get set in their ways, and that was one of them. And it's like, all right, I get having you make a mistake with a player or whatever, but they kind of went down that same road again, and it's just like it was more frustrating. Then he got hurt, and then it didn't really matter, but. Jalen Tolbert's development, they all credit Cooks for that. So he's a good player. He's got a speed, and he's also a team guy, and great locker room dude. So that's why I say I wouldn't be opposed to him. He's smart as hell. I really like having Cooks on the team. He's getting up there in years, but I still think used the right way, he could be effective. Um, but that's not the splash that I'm talking about. I mean,
No,
I'm not.
and I get that, Nick. I'm just saying that he's even though he's older, he's still got the speed. And if you're gonna draft another wide receiver, which they probably will, he'd be great to have in the room as a veteran to help along that rookie wide receiver.
No doubt. I mean, 100%. It would be great to have. So,
What
um,
about bringing in Dante Fowler?
um, yeah. I mean, again,
I'm just looking at who's available,
He
and
doesn't seem to be happy over at
no,
Washington.
he's available.
Yeah, and he's not happy over there either.
I mean, he's Zadarius Smith.
No, I think he was happy in Washington. He had a very productive year, especially sack wise. I want to say he got to 9.5 or 10 sacks, but he's not happy at the fact that he thought that they were going to back up the Brinks truck and re-sign him, and it looks like he's on the out as I look at Washington continuing to bring other players on the defensive line in, and I think they brought in several other defensive ends today. So it looks like he may not have a seat when musical chairs is left. So he may
He's
be
good.
looking for
He's
another
good at
home.
what he does as a situational pass rush. He's very good. What about Mekhi Becton from Philly? He's a guard, and
I'd love it.
he's only 26 years old.
my hand is
We're
up.
not we're not getting a fifth guard. How many times I
Why?
keep saying this?
You need a
We're
guard.
not
What
getting
it
the fifth
means, you'll
guard.
be getting a starter, and
You
that's
need
the
a starter.
difference.
You
The
pencil
guy
him right
from
in as a
Miami
starter.
doesn't mean
We're
anything
not
until
getting
you
Rob
start
a
making
Jones is
guard.
the
improvements.
starter.
He's only 26
Right.
years old.
Yeah, bringing in the guy from Miami doesn't do anything for me. Hang on, let me get to Kyle here. He's got his hand up. Go ahead, Kyle.
What's up, guys? I'm gonna jump on this youth movement train that y'all are talking about. I definitely agree, but I wanted to kind of add something to that. So uh, I think yes, there's a youth movement, but I think this front office has kind of seen how they've been burned by these long-term contracts with veteran players. You know, guys like Demarcus Lawrence. You know, he holds out, gets paid, and then he gets injured last year. Zach Martin, amazing player, holds out, gets injured. You know, regresses a little bit, doesn't really earn that extension. Gallup, Diggs, you know, guys like that, the veteran players where I think this front office might be a little bit more hesitant to extend players in their later 20 years. Like see a guy like Jordan Lewis, who they're productive player, great locker room guy, let him go. They didn't want to pay him that money. That's fine. But I think I like what they're doing in free agency because of that. I think they're signing these younger players that they maybe had graded highly in the draft at one point, and they're kind of putting them on 1 or 2 year prove it deals where they're trying to get solid years out of these guys. I think back to like I think it was 06, 07 where they had problems at safety. I think Roy Williams and Keith Davis, guys like that, weren't playing that well. They go out the next year. They sign Ken Hamlin, 1 year deal. Has an amazing year. Now you could definitely argue that they made a mistake giving him an extension, but it was that kind of situation where they got a guy that was a veteran player, 1 year deal, prove it, try to produce on that 1 year. So I think that's kind of what they're doing, where they don't want to allocate a lot of their assets to those longer term deals, and they're kind of saving those for the blue chip players like Lamb, Parsons, and Dak, and then they're kind of just hoping that these shorter term deals kind of pan out. Like the Eagles did it with Zach Bond, 1 year deal, right? After they won the Super Bowl, they were like, "All right, see you later, good luck." Got his money, and then they moved on. So maybe that's what they're doing, trying to do.
So
My my
Kyle,
only my
They
only concern
re-signed him.
with that though, Kyle, is, and I said this earlier in the space. My only concern with that is these 1 year deals. You're gonna end up like we are right now. Look how many free agents we have. Look how many holes we have to fill. So these 1 year deals, you know, you're going to be back in the same situation next year where you're going to have holes you're going to have to fill. And you've got these guys. Yeah, what if they do ball out? You're not going to pay them. And then here we are again trying to backfill once again in free agency.
Right, but I think that's why they're going to try to fill some of those needs in the draft. It's almost like they're trying to put a band-aid
I
on this
can't
for a year or
trust them
two.
in the draft the
so
last
so
couple of years.
so Kyle, I also said this earlier. I get what you're saying about the youth movement, and but then that's why, and I said this earlier. Stop playing the comp pick formula all the time and waiting to get the pick. 2 drafts later. then start trading some of these players. If you get to the last year in their deal and you know that you're not looking favorably upon them and you're probably going to let them walk at the end of the year, then start trading them and getting some type of draft asset. You don't have just because like I'm just using Mozzie for example. If I were to, it just personally me, Mozzie's coming into his last year before you have to figure out if you got to pick up his 5th-year option,
Yeah.
whatever. If I got to game 4 or 5 and he's not playing up to par, I am trading him mid season for somebody. And yes, if I only get a 5th round pick back, so what? Because if he signs with somebody else, I'm going to end up getting a 5th or 6th pick down the line anyway. At least I have the draft asset for the 2026 draft to be able to finagle things and move around and trade other players or do some of the deals that like they did today. That's one of the main problems that we're having, or at least what I see with the team. We're not doing enough of that when we know players are going to leave. And then to further deal with the conflict equation, I think some of the deals that we give out in free agency, we're basing that in players that we go off of I don't want to mess with my conflict formula, so I'm not going to sign some of these players that become available because I know I got a pick coming back because Demarcus Lawrence, for example, left or Tyron Smith left and went to another team. I don't want to mess with that at this point, and I
Right.
miss out on opportunities.
Or even like you trade a fourth for Mingo, knowing that you're going to get 3 comp picks, and it kind of cancels it out. Maybe a situation like that. I get that, but at the same time, you brought up Mozzie as an example. It's okay. So if he has a year next year, like he did the past few years, where he showed some flashes last year, but not solid enough to think, okay, this guy's going to be the guy for the next 3 4 years. What's his value going to be mid-season if you try to trade him? You're not going to get a 5th. Maybe you swap late round picks. Is it going to make that much of a difference on your roster? I think that's kind of the catch 2020 with the Cowboys. I think they take high pride in their drafting, right? So they like to hang on to their guys generally, unless they're maybe mid round picks, guys like Golston. But generally, they're high draft guys. They love to hang on to them. Maybe they even resign them a little bit earlier, like they did with Jalen Smith. So they
So
don't like to get rid of their guys. They like to keep a lot of things
I
in house.
understand. I understand that, but what I'm saying is, if I made the decision, or it looks like I'm not going to retain this player anyway, instead of me getting and so what? I only get a 5th or I get a 6th. I am it's give it to me now as opposed to I'm getting my 5th or 6th when they walk out of the door and I gotta wait a whole year to get the 5th or 6th. But really, more than I'm waiting to the second draft because they walk out the door, then I draft, and I don't have the pick then, and I gotta wait till the next year to be able to draft a player to replace them. I would. I'm just saying, me personally, I think they should do a better job because I mean, we and I referenced Philly doing that. One of the reasons that Philly has all of these extra picks in the draft is one for trading back, and for two, they've been trading away some players and getting some assets back when they know they're not going to resign players or whatever. Even somebody like Reddick, they knew they weren't gonna resign him, and they were going to be price out. But even like C.J. Gardner Johnson, they took a late round pick for him or whatever. Just get something back right now that can help me build my team in the moment, as opposed to having to wait until the league eventually gives me a comp pick when the
Right.
person walks out the door.
The Cowboys are such a unique team. They're the most unique team in the league because where do you guys rank Dak Prescott?
He's a 5 to 10 quarterback in the league.
Does
He's
everybody
he,
agree top 10? I got him around.
he's like 8 to 12, I would say, somewhere around
Okay,
there.
I'd say that. I'd say that. So what makes the Cowboys unique is you have most teams that have a quarterback like a Dak. Let's just say for the hell of it, we got him at 10, top 10. Most teams with a top 10 quarterback build around him. And I think the Cowboys out of any other team, we're so we got the highest paid quarterback, but I don't even care about the money anymore with him. It's he's a top 10 quarterback. You gotta I would put CD as a top 3 wide receiver, and then I put Micah as a top 2 or 3 defensive player. And then the drop off, then I would put Tyler Smith as one of the best guards. And then after that, the drop off is just dramatic across the board. So as a fan, I look at it like you have the quarterback. Do we all believe that if Dak had a balanced, good team, could he take us to the Super Bowl?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yes. If he had
Okay.
a top run defense and top run
Yes.
Yeah,
offense,
just a
Yes.
balanced team. And that's why I get so mad, because I've seen this team with some really bad quarterbacks, Gary Hogaboom and shit. And then as a Cowboys fan, we've been lucky. We've had Tony Romo, and then back to back we had Dak Prescott. So I say to myself, you got the guy that you know you need, because if you don't have a top 10 quarterback, you have really no chance of winning a Super Bowl unless he's on a rookie deal and you can really build around him. And even the 49ers failed at that. Uh, so I say to myself, you got to add players to these guys, and I don't mean just young guys or bargain guys. That's not going to get it done. By the time the young guys, even if you draft really good, by the time those young guys get up to speed, Dak isn't Dak anymore. CD isn't CD anymore, and Mike is not Micah anymore. That's why I don't understand. You got to me, you got to, now it's a 3-year window, because I think Dak has 3. If his hamstring is healthy, he's got 3 really good years left, I believe.
yeah,
And
and I think that's the criticism. You can criticize that, let's say Dak's rookie year, like after his rookie season, you pretty much knew he was going to be the guy after 2016, and you had another 3 years on a rookie contract to
yes,
build that defense. They should have built
yeah.
that defense because they had a top 5 offensive line, maybe the best O line in the league, and they
Well,
just kind of sat back and they
we
did what
we
they do.
talked about it. Yeah, we said that. We said, put if they would have not touched the offense at all with Dez and Jason Witten and Zeke, and just threw some money at the defense, that team could have won a Super Bowl. I agree.
Yeah, and you
But
just
now,
lost Ware a few years before. You
yeah,
needed a pass rush. They
but
couldn't stop the
that's
run.
gone. So that's gone. So now we are where we are. So now you're looking to drop 38 to 40 million dollars. I think it's going to take to get Mike. I think Micah will take a little less, just because he said he would, and I think he'll take I think 38 is going to get it done for Mike
And that
personally.
that's why, I mean, not to change topics. I know David's had his hand up for a while, but that's why I'm like on the table for a guy like Kenny Grant, because Solomon Thomas, he's more of a rotational pass rusher guy like Golston was. I want a guy that could play the one tech in case Mozzie doesn't pan out, that could get some pass rush. Kenny Grant's that guy, man. Like, they need to stop the run. If you could stop the run, you have a chance. You have a chance, and that's
Yeah.
really what's been holding this team back. So
Speaking of Nick, what do you think about? I'm just looking at the internet, and Stefan Diggs. Would he be a splash guy, or is that time come and past?
I think he would be a splash guy for sure. Um, I just don't know what Trayvon Diggs' future is. I mean, I think they're gonna rehab him and all that, but if he wasn't hurt, I don't know if he was gonna be back. It was a tough situation last year. I I don't know. I think Diggs is not for everyone. And just his work ethic is kind of rubs people the wrong way at times. But and one of his biggest cheerleaders is now gone, and now Harris. And so I still think he's not going anywhere. But I kind of wonder if he's going to be doing heavily recruiting for his brother. Um,
Then he's gone the next year.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
you
that'd
know,
be
I
weird.
I hope. I'm a fan of Trayvon. I mean, we got to do a documentary on him. I learned a little bit about him. I like him,
Yeah,
but I know that you know he's
the
not
guy
Sean
whose
Lee.
face, the guy whose face keeps staring at me on the computer saying, "Why don't you bring me back?" is Stefan Gilmore. I know
Yes,
he's 34, but he's a pro, he is healthy. He played good last year. I just think he's the type of guy with Jordan Lewis leaving. I think you need somebody like a Gilmore, and I gotta assume he'd be pretty
Where?
reasonable.
Yeah. Where are you, Rob? Are you like in the building? Because like that conversation came up like a week ago. I was told I wouldn't be surprised if we bring Gilmore
Because
back.
it just makes sense. He
It
was a
does.
really good player here, and then he left, and you just he's 34, so we assume he's going to fall off, because he got hurt. All we remember is the Green Bay game,
Yeah.
but he was hurt. But
It was
before
hurt.
that, he could have argued he was our best cornerback.
Hey,
Oh yeah.
real quick. I just saw that Darius Slay signed a 1-year, $10 million fully guaranteed deal with Pittsburgh today.
Yeah,
Maybe
yeah,
I'm late to that, but holy crap.
yeah.
Yep. The other thing
10
on but the other
million.
thing
That's
on
fine.
Gilmore, to Rob's point too,
10 million is the
he's
new
not
5 million.
he's not sideline to sideline, but he's good as far as coverage.
Yeah, and he's smart.
Yeah,
He helps.
absolutely.
He helps the others, and I don't remember him. I think he played all year last year. He's a. I watched him play against Philadelphia last year, and he always goes up against AJ Brown, who's a really good wide receiver, and he holds his own. I just think he's he fits exactly what they usually do. They bring in a guy that was good or is good for cheap. He was here. To me, that's a no brainer.
All right, hey,
Yep.
before we go any further here, shout out Chris Beam in the house. What up, Chris Beam? And then I want to go over to David here. He's had his hand up for about 45 years. So, David, please go ahead, sir. Take all the time you want. You've been waiting.
I forgot what I was going to say. I'm just kidding, man. I'm just chilling. I'm enjoying listening, dude. There's a lot of good knowledge in this room, and I appreciate it. And so I'm just, yeah, I'm digging it. It's pretty awesome. It's a good talk, so I really appreciate it. But real quick, Nick, you made a comment earlier that kind of like you kind of like threw it in there, but you're kind
Uh
of like throwing it in there kind of quietly in regards
That's
to
the Nick Eatman
McCarthy.
specialty.
I mean,
No,
they call me the Empire Strikes Back. You know what I mean? So
so I was like, it's just kind of stuck in my head because I've been thinking this. I thought the same thing for like the longest time. Because do you remember when he got hired? He sat out a year, remember, and like had this like, oh my god, I've been researching the game and stats, and I've done things a certain way,
He
and I know that
lied.
I can't,
He
you
lied.
know. And I'm like, and like the last 2 years, I'm like, bro, like this guy needs to go back and go look at some of that shit because I felt like we were doing the same shit over and over again. I'm like, exactly why he got fired in Green Bay. So it's just funny that you say that. So I guess my question is, which is why I kind of think that the Joneses and maybe I don't know. Everybody says they're not smart, but I have a hard time saying that those people aren't smart when they're some of the richest people in the world. So I don't call anybody smart that is way more not smart that's way more successful than me. So props to them. But my theory is I think that people were starting to see the writing on the wall, and I think that might have been part of the reason why he didn't come back because the Joneses might have been like, or whoever, McClay or whoever. Well, McClay for sure, because I think McClay was a big deal as to why Shoddy is there, in my opinion, because it was very obvious that McClay would have been gone if they wouldn't have hired Shoddy. That's just my opinion. So for whatever reason, McClay must really like Shoddy. I think so. Outside looking in, but I think it's also because of the way that he's basically saying like, hey, we need to be more creative in our scheme and everything that we're doing. Motions and splits and kind of like what Ben Johnson was doing. Is pretty much what he was saying is what Ben Johnson was doing, and I think, and that's kind of what I think. Is that kind of what you were touching on, Nick, in regards to what McCarthy did, kind of falling back into his Green Bay days, kind of?
yeah, yeah, I think so. I definitely think that McCarthy. I just. Will. I'm not
I
saying
know
Will.
you're not going to talk shit.
Well, I'm just saying that Will's not. I don't know he would have left or anything like that, but I definitely think Will wanted to see what the direction of the team was. I mean, I think that was a big part of him coming back. So I'm not saying he didn't get along with McCarthy or anything like that. I just think that it was one of those situations where if I'm gonna resign, I want to know what we're doing here and what the direction is. And so yeah, I mean, I think it's a good partnership right now.
I think McCarthy was a very good coach in the sense of he did something that hasn't been done in a long time, going 12-5 3 years in a row. My knock on him was I thought his situational football was terrible. And what I mean is, and we've seen it in games where we would get 8 yards on first down on a running play, and then he'd throw, you know, 2 downs in a row and get nothing. And I'm like, dude, you just ran for 8. Just keep doing it. And I just thought his situational football in games put us in bad positions. And sometimes we made it. We ended up winning, and sometimes we didn't. And I just think it was time. I think 5 years for a head football coach. If you don't go to an NFC championship or you don't go to a Super Bowl, that I'm going to give you 5 years, and then it's time to move on. And it will listen. It's going to be a good contrast now because you had a guy that had success in the sense of record wise during the regular season, and now we're going to a young, not young, but an unproven guy that's never been a head coach. So he's either going to show you how good McCarthy was or how bad he was.
I
Yeah.
think reading the tea leaves here about the new kind of violent way the new coaches staff is and all the things that they've been talking about is going to be. I always thought of McCarthy's offenses as pretty, right? A little more finesse. Of course, when he had Aaron Rodgers and stuff, he's never been able to run the ball. I said this when I used to call into the show a lot more. He's never had a great running game. He never had, I don't know if you look back in his career, how many times he had a guy run for 1,200 yards.
Didn't he have Eddie Lacy as his running back when he was
Yeah,
there?
yeah, he had Eddie Lacy. They did. They had another guy that was pretty good back then, but yeah, it was just he doesn't run the ball. McCarthy doesn't know how to do and situationally like those, you know, we never had those grinded out games. Say what you want about Jason Garrett, but he knew how to stick with the run, keep it close till the end and then finish it with the run, right? We just never did that and we got further and further away from it every year. And I think that's what's going to be different about this coaching staff is, yeah, like what everybody's been saying.
Hey guys, I'm gonna roll out of here. It's great talking to you guys. I appreciate all the support and everything you guys do for the show, and I'm glad you guys do this. But I'm gonna roll out. You guys have a good one.
All right. Thanks for
All right,
stopping by,
Thanks,
fellas.
Nick.
Nick.
Appreciate it.
See
See
ya.
you,
See you, man.
bro.
See you guys.
I know it's what time is it over there? 11:30.
It's 11:30. Yeah, I was gonna see if
Yeah.
I was gonna ask for 10 more minutes to do a mock draft, but he got off before I could do anything. Hey, Beam. Oh, Beam's a listener now. Dang it, Chris Beam. I was gonna see if you wanted a mock too, but you're out of here as well. All right. Well, we're mocking with ourselves, boys and girls. We are mocking by our lonesome. All right. I'm gonna pop off in about 10 minutes here. So this is our last 10 minutes or so.
Hey,
Let's do
this
this
is my
mock
first
draft.
time in your space, man. You're a hell of a host.
Oh, thanks,
Really
brother.
want to come back and be a part of these things. Truly have enjoyed it, and keep doing what you do, man. It's the first time I've seen you on a space, so
Thanks,
thanks.
dude. I appreciate it. It's usually not
Oh,
this
he's the
crowded in
king.
here. Nick Eatman has brought in some folks. So usually get about 20, 30 people, but yeah, it's been popping off tonight. Rob's been kind of dodging bullets here from the crowd. It's been fun to watch him defend
Rob
himself.
is always dodging bullets.
He's from New York, man. He's gonna dodge bullets. My
Right?
goodness, hey,
Literally.
like I appreciate it, bro, but it's like my God. But I get down with it. Like, gotta learn to, you know, get to know people a little bit. I've got to know you a little bit tonight. You're passionate. I love it.
You know what
So
it is? It's what's crazy is we could argue and we could see things differently, but we all have the same goal. It's like we're one big
facts,
Italian family.
Facts.
It's
Big facts.
yeah, it's like sitting at dinner for me.
Yeah.
We all talk shit, but we're all on the same team. We all want the same thing. We just may want to go about it differently.
Yeah.
And it's great. And that's
Now,
why I love this. And Dylan and Irene and it's awesome. They do this and it really is. And Nick
now,
joining tonight was awesome.
now, I could appreciate it a whole lot more if it would say crazy Cowboys fan, and then Dallas Stars fan from New York, now in Vegas.
No, I can't. I'm a Golden Knights fan. I used to be a Rangers fan, but I've been in Vegas now 35 years. So
good talking to you, man. No,
yeah.
I appreciate it, guy. I like I said, I've never seen this space, and I've truly enjoyed it. So
We usually do it. I think right now Dylan said we're doing it every other week, but now
We're gonna
that
do it every other Thursday for now. During the season, it goes every week.
it's every week, and
yeah.
cool.
the more the merrier. It's really cool to hear you guys' voices, and
Yeah.
I just love it. It's a lot of fun. It really
No
is.
doubt. And on that note, anybody that you hear speaking in here, just for all the listeners, if you like anybody, make sure you click on their little picture there, hit that follow button. Make sure you give them some love too. But let's go ahead and roll into this mock draft now. We'll crank this out in 5-10
Dylan,
minutes.
I'm gonna jump off. My wife's like, all right, it's time.
Tell her you got to do a mock draft, bro. Come on now.
All right.
Hey, Rob, it's only 8:30.
I know you're right. I'm drinking a beer. All right, go ahead. Let's go.
All right, we're going quick. We're gonna go quick. We fly through these. All right. So round one here. Yikes, I don't like this at all. This is a trade back scenario. So we got Barron, the cornerback from Texas. We got Warren, the tight end from Penn State. We got Malachi Stark, safety from Georgia, James Pierce, Mike Greenwell Johnson, etc. I think this is a trade back. I think this is without a doubt
Trade back.
Yeah,
I think we can go to all the way to like 20.
That Warren kid looks special.
Which one?
Warren.
Tyler Warren? Yeah, he is, but I don't think Cowboys should be picking a tight end at 12. I think this is a trade back.
What about if you traded back to, let's say, 16?
He's
17?
not going to make it.
No, but let's say he was there. Would you take him?
I'd consider it. Yeah, it depends who else is there around.
We're not solid on tight end.
He's a weapon, right? So if you want to look at weapons, he's a weapon. Yeah, I'd consider it at 16 to 20. So our options here, we got the Colts at 14 to trade back. We got the Broncos at 20. Those would be the two I would look at. We want to go Broncos 20 or Colts at 14.
What are they offering?
Yeah, Colts will probably pick up a third-round pick. Let's see. Yeah, we'll pick up a third-round pick from the Colts. Broncos, we can pick up probably a second and a fourth. Yeah, 2 and 4 from the Broncos.
I would do the 20.
Hold on. The Colts. Hold on. So, which one is the 20th pick?
Broncos, and they're going to give us the second and the fourth.
I'll take that.
Yeah, me too.
There we go.
I think that's a no-brainer. And I might even pick Hampton at pick 20 here. Let's see.
Is it the second and fourth this year?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah, then that's
it.
So here's I think the options that I think we can consider. We got Luther Burden. That's going to be a no for me. We got Kenneth Grant, Derek Harmon, Matthew Golden, and Amarian Hampton. Those would be the four I would consider.
Give me Hampton.
Give me the running back.
You guys want to go Hampton? Got a consensus?
Absolutely.
Hampton.
All right.
Hampton, first round guy.
Yeah, Hampton's a first round
At
guy.
pick 20, yeah, why not?
At this point, you're picking second round players.
Hampton probably go in the 20s. So yeah, Hampton's fine with me.
Okay.
All right, Hampton. Hampton is. I probably would have went with the with Kenneth Grant, the D tackle.
I was considering that,
but that's fine. That's fine. Maybe I'll target the guy from Texas, Alfred Collins, in the second round. So second round here, Demetrius Knight, linebacker. This Iomanor guy, who I think he's really more of a late second round pick from everything I'm hearing. The receiver from Stanford. So I don't want to go with that this early. Got Xavier Watts, the safety from Notre Dame. Trey Amos, which could be a consideration. This is pick 44, by the way. So this is our standard second round pick. So Trey Amos, the cornerback from Mississippi. Princely, the edge from Mississippi. Alfred Collins, the defensive interior from Texas. Might be a little early to pick Collins. I think I would probably be looking at maybe the corner, Amos, Collins from Texas. What's that?
We got 2 second round picks, right?
Yeah, it's 44 and 51.
I'm going Amos there.
Would Collins be there at 51?
He might.
Yes.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. And then we wait on him.
Yeah.
Is
So
there a
Trey, do we
in the
want to take the
second?
corner?
Cause,
Yeah.
cause who's the linebacker?
Demetrius Knight, South Carolina.
Oh no, I'll take the corner.
That's what I've been doing all my mocks at 44 is taking Trey Amos. So that's good with me. I'm down. Trey Amos it is. All right. I think I'm taking Alfred Collins right here. That's my pick. Because we don't have a one technique as it sits right now.
Alfred Collins, he's there.
Down.
I knew he'd be there.
Yeah. Yeah,
Well,
his
at
average
point,
draft position is 53. We're at 51, so that sounds good to me.
I still want to get a wide receiver.
We can look at
you
that
will.
next round. We got a third and a fourth, so we're good. All right, let's see.
What about so the next pick in the second round?
That was both second
No,
round
that's
picks. So now
Collins.
we're in the third.
Okay.
Let's see here. So Chris Paul, linebacker, Mississippi. Jeez. Jalen Royals is their top receiver, according to PFF anyway. Kevin Winston, safety from Penn State. Mason Taylor, I know that's a name that a lot of people like, the tight end from LSU. And then we also have the tight end from Miami, Elijah Arroyo.
What wide receivers are on the board?
It's Jalen Royals and Savion Williams would be the top two.
I got Savion myself.
Could also try to trade back a smidge. Let's see. Go to pick 80.
Savion's a player.
Go to pick 80 and pick 152. So trading back 4 slots, and then we can probably get Savion at that point.
Okay, let's do that.
Yeah, let's do that.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Yeah, Savion's still there.
Yep.
We want to do that?
Yep, Savion's the pick.
All right. We're moving on. All right, we are in round 4, pick 121. Here's I think that what the pick's gonna be. Well, I won't say here. Let's just go through them. We got Noel Williams, Jadon Blue. So that's a corner from California. Jadon Blue, the fast, speedy running back from Texas. Really good, but has some fumbling problems. Barrett Carter, linebacker from Clemson. Jack Kaiser from Notre Dame. I like Jack Kaiser at linebacker a lot.
I would go linebacker.
And then Brashard Smith is the other running back, the other speedster.
Yeah,
so we could double up at running back, we could double up at corner, or we could take a linebacker.
I'll take a running back in the 5th. Let's do linebacker.
All right, so do we like Barrett Carter or Jack Kaiser?
Oh, hold on. What is there any defensive ends? Or
you got an edge with I'm not familiar with this guy, Antoine Powell Ryland.
What safeties are available? Don't laugh at me.
Yeah,
no,
there's
that's
not
not.
gonna
That's
be
a
much. No, yeah, there's not gonna be much here in the way of safeties. Billy Bowman, who we can get in the 5th.
Billy Bowman.
I do like Billy Bowman, but we can take him in the 5th. Yeah, that's
Billy
a guy
Bowman's
I've been taking him in a lot of my mocks in the 5th round.
I assume Stutzman's gone.
No, he'll be there in the 5th round as well. So
Boy,
we could
you
take
get
safety and
Stutzman
linebacker in the 5th.
Bowman?
Yeah, I'd take both those.
Now, is that real life? Will they be there in real life in the 5th? I don't know, but you're just
I
using
would
these
take
rankings.
Stutzman here, man. If I'm going for a linebacker, that's what I'd want.
Well, we can double up here. So I would say if we're gonna go linebacker, I say we take I say we take Jack Kaiser, and then we can double up with Stutzman in the 5th, so we can really improve there.
Oh my God!
I'm down with that.
Okay.
Yeah, that works.
Yeah, or we can also double up here. We can go Noel Williams now, and then Stutzman later. Noel Williams be in the corner, and I think Noel Williams.
Well, we just got those 2 new linebackers too, so
Kaiser's a player, man.
He's also like a big redneck, and I like that at linebacker.
Yeah, him and Stutzman both. They're both freaking redneck.
Yeah,
Weird ass.
They're like
freaky athletes.
farm
Where's
strong
Kaiser?
kind of guys.
What team does Kaiser play? What college?
Notre Dame.
Notre Dame.
Notre Dame, right? Yeah, I like him. He's a good player.
He said Notre Dame. Hell yeah. All right, we're taking Jack Kaiser. The other
That's good
linebacker I
stuff.
like too is Kobe King because he's like your classic big boy linebacker, but we won't take him in this draft.
I
All
like
right,
the
so
kid from Clemson, but I guess
yeah,
he's Barrett.
yeah, he was there as well next to Kaiser. They're ranked right next to each other. I
Yeah,
think at this
both
point
of them
we're
are
gonna
nice.
take Billy Bowman in round 5. He's the best safety on the board by far. So
Yeah.
that's pick 150. I think we take him.
Cool.
All right, Billy Bowman it is. And then now is where it starts getting weird. So Quinn Ewers is around.
I don't hate it.
Kobe Hudson, receiver from UCF. Quincy
My
Riley,
God,
cornerback of Louisville.
we need a quarterback, boys.
Let me see who the other quarterbacks are. So Kyle McCord, we could probably take later. He's a
Okay.
Syracuse QB. Brady Cook, he's a combine stud from Missouri.
Yeah, he was a Heisman front runner at the beginning of the year.
So I would say we either take Quinn Ewers now or we take Brady Cook with our last pick.
What pick? Where are we at? We're in the fifth round.
We're in the 5th round, pick 152, and we have now what pick?
Is the
What
Oregon
pick did we
quarterback
trade?
still on the board?
Oregon?
Dylan
No,
Gabriel.
no, he's gone. He's gone.
Oh, he's gone. Wow, I'm surprised.
Yeah, what pick did we just trade away? What 5th round pick? You know the number?
170, I think.
All right, so this still PFF is wrong, so they still have us with pick 170. So we just need to work around that. We'll just pick some bullshit player in that slot. But for right now, yeah, we're pick 152. So the choices I would say would be Quinn Ewers, a quarterback. Sheesh.
Can we wait on McCord?
We can. Yeah. I don't like any of this right now. I don't like any of this at all. Upton Stout. We just got a safety though.
Y'all want to get another running back?
I think you go Quinn Ewers.
Shit, man. I think we go Quinn Ewers too. Oh, we could go. Well, hang on a second now. We could go Bashul Tootin, the speedster out of Virginia Tech at running back.
I like the linebacker from UNLV, Jackson Woodard.
We have. You're gonna have. Who's our backup gonna be this year?
For who? Quarterback?
Yeah.
We don't know.
Probably
No.
Cooper Rush.
No, Cooper Rush is gone. Trey Lance is gone.
No, he's not. They're not gone. They left.
Well, they have.
They'll be gone.
Listen, I want Jameis Winston. I'm standing on the table for him.
Well, wait a second.
For the fun factor.
Will Greer, don't we?
Yeah, but we need to take a young guy at some point and develop him.
No, and I get that, but I'm just saying who's going to be back up this year.
Trey Lance.
Trey Lance is gone.
No, but he's going to come back.
Hang on a second. Trey Lance. I just read a report saying Trey Lance is fighting for a third slot on somebody's team somewhere. I don't think he'll be the backup here.
Yeah, he's not going to be here.
I think we should take Quinn Ewers, guys. Is what I think.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
All right.
All right.
I'm not a fan of Quentin Ewers. I'm just saying.
What round was this? 5th round?
We're still in the 5th round. We're at pick 170.
You think it's going to last to the 5th round?
Yeah.
Maybe. I'm just going to make up some bullshit pick here because they didn't update our 5th round pick. So I'm just going to pick some random dude, like a punter or some shit. I just picked a punter. All right. So now we're at pick 172. Try to keep this realistic. So Danny Stutzman, there's your boy. He's here.
Okay.
That's who we want, right?
Yep.
All right. And Danny Stutzman it is. And then the last one, I've been hearing some good things about this edge from Georgia, this Tyrion Ingram Dawkins. He's here. And then Emory Jones is like your classic Cowboys mock draft final pick. We could also go with the Bashul Tootin kid, the running back as well.
Give me the edge.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Tyrion Ingram Dawkins it is. Representing Game of Thrones, Tyrion. All right. So mock draft is done. So we got Marion Hampton, Trey Amos, Alfred Collins, who's my favorite pick in the draft. Then we got Savion Williams, Jack Kaiser, Billy Bowman, Quinn Ewers, a punter, hell yeah, Danny Stutzman, Tyrion Ingram Dawkins. That's how we.
How many starters?
Right off the bat, you got Jack Kaiser, probably at least a rotational player, but will get significant playing time. So 4 probably off the bat, and then Savion Williams will work his way in. I don't know if he'll be wide receiver 2 right now.
If you could get 4 starters out of the draft, that would be awesome.
I mean, your first three are absolutely starters: running back, cornerback, and defensive interior. I think Alfred Collins starts right away. I think Trey Amo starts right away, or Marion Hampton starts right away. So
Yeah,
there you go.
then
There's your
if you
first
could
three.
get 4 starters out of the draft, that would be really good.
Yeah, I like this one, guys. This is a good one. I'll take
Yeah,
a snapshot and throw it on the group here. Good job, boys. Good job. All right, y'all. I think that's it. I'm gonna wrap this one up. I'm gonna go to
Is
bed because it's
everybody
almost
on
midnight
the
here.
East Coast? Is everybody on the East Coast?
No,
No.
I
No,
would
I'm
say more
in
people are.
Arizona, so
Okay.
I'm now on Pacific Standard Time because we don't change our clocks. We
I'm
just
I'm in
change
Salt
time
Lake,
zones.
so it's 10 here almost.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's time for bed,
you're
boys. It's midnight over here.
I know you're. Let me tell you, you're a creep.
Yeah, I'm old. I'm usually in bed by like 9:30 at the latest. That's late for me. So
Oh
I
my
do this for you
God.
guys. I do this for Cowboys Nation.
9:30.
Bro, I got two kids under 6 years old, or I have 6 now, but I got two little ones. I got a 17-year-old. I got kids all over the place. It's very tiring. All right, very
Nine.
tiring.
Shit.
Listen, if
I'm in
I'm
bed.
playing if I'm playing video games, I'll stay up later. If I'm really into a movie, I'll stay up late. But like, I gotta be hands on doing something by 8:30, or I'm done, brother. Like, I'm done.
I know my son bought me a video game, some old ass game called Wolfenstein or something.
Oh man, yeah, dude. Hell
Dude,
yeah.
it's fun as hell.
Is it the real old one, or is it like one of the newer ones?
It's about 2017, 2018.
Oh, okay, so one of the newer ones. That was
And
Wolfenstein. Old school Wolfenstein was one of the first video games I ever played. Then that got me
it's
hooked. It
a
was like on the
blast, this
NES.
game.
It's gory as hell though. These new ones. This is wild.
I know it's good because my wife hears me cursing and screaming because I can't get past it. And
Goddamn
I said that
Nazis.
it's a good game when you do that.
That's funny, bro. All right, y'all. Well, I appreciate y'all
All right.
joining. Very
Well, everybody have a
passionate.
good night. I
Thanks,
think it
y'all.
was awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Thanks,
thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Dylan.
All right,
Good
y'all.
night.
Good night.
We'll check y'all later. See ya.